Hey, welcome everyone to our first ever live stream on the Nerd Strike Back. And we should have a counter for how many times I start to say Nerd of the
I
Rings.
know,
And
I kinda thought you were about to.
I did it in my unboxing video as soon as I went to record that right
Nice,
away. Went straight into Nerd of the Rings mode.
nice.
So everyone, if you've not seen the face of my illustrious co-host here. This is Keaton, and we are tag teaming on this channel um, to bring you some nerdy awesomeness from a galaxy far, far away. And yeah, Keaton, tell us a bit about your Star Wars fandom, and then we'll get straight into. We got some Bad Batch news today. We got an episode titles, so
Yeah,
we'll do some theorizing. But yeah, tell us a bit about yourself, Keaton.
of course, yeah. So, I've before, Tolkien and Lord of the Rings for me, I was always a Star Wars fan. As you can probably kinda see, I've got a little healthy mix of I would say healthy, but I think there's clearly a Star Wars dominance in my background here. It's just been something that, I have always known. I
Mm.
think my first toy I ever received was a little, like, one of the small R2D2s, and it was just a part of life for me. It wasn't something that I discovered or, like, went to the theater and discovered. It was just yeah, I was raised on it at home, I would say fortunately.
Yeah.
And that's just yeah, that's just kind of it. It's been something that's a part of life. It's something I've always studied, if you will. That feels funny to
Mm-hmm.
say. Studied and watched and wondered at my whole life, and so I always kind of wanted to do something a little more with it, sort of like a channel, but that never really seemed possible. But of course, going along and being a fan of Tolkien and Lord of the Rings and all of that stuff, I was able to meet Matt, and then after knowing Matt for a while and kind of discovering we had some common interest in Star Wars and other
Yeah,
things, it just seemed to kind of make sense to do this.
absolutely.
Why it's a why not, and then we'll see what
Yeah.
happens from there.
Yeah, well, that's yeah, we're trying it out, having some fun with it. And yeah, I likewise was long before I was introduced to Tolkien, I was introduced to Star Wars back on VHS.
Mhm.
Keaton, you won't even know
We
what that
had
is.
VHS, but I think I've seen
Sure
it on
you do.
VHS like
I
once.
yeah, I bet. You Googled that to know what a
I
VHS
was like,
is.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Luke Skywalker was the first like heroic figure that I really looked up to as far as um, fantasy characters and
Yeah.
everything. And yeah, it kind of I feel like it softened me up for the Tolkien full fledged geekdom that would come for
Mhm.
me with Tolkien. Um, Yeah, but it's kind of fun to go back to. There's so many times when we start talking about Star Wars and like doing the first unboxing is like um, you know the unboxings on Nerd of the Rings are like adult me being totally nerded out and
Yeah,
freaked out. Whereas like when I do an unboxing of Star Wars stuff, it is like the inner 4-year-old me who
sure.
is absolutely freaking out that I'm unboxing a lightsaber and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
no, it's a lot of fun. I mean, I get that way with anything, I think, these
yeah.
days. I mean, especially the collectibles. I mean, love collecting lightsabers too. We've talked about that a ton, but
Yeah.
I remember a couple of Christmases ago, I got a Darth Revan lightsaber, and I didn't even ask for it, and so I was like, it's just I was just giddy because
Yeah.
such a forgotten character sometimes. So it was a lot of fun.
Well, let's launch right into we thought a fun first stream would be for us to look ahead to 2023. And we'll talk a little bit about what came out in 2022, what we were really big fans of, what we
Hmm.
weren't big fans of in 2022, and then the Star Wars projects that we're really, really psyched about in 2023. Um, One of those for me, because one of the coolest things about being a Star Wars fan for me is in any fandom actually is when I can share it with my kids
Yeah.
and my kids are, full-fledged Star Wars nerds at this point. More so than Tolkien, because I feel like the entry barrier for Tolkien is a little higher age-wise.
Yep.
But they're full on Star Wars nerds, and they love especially the Bad Batch and Clone Wars, Mandalorian. They love it all, but they really have a soft spot for Bad Batch. So that's a fun one for me to watch with them. So we got the episode list today revealed. And Keaton and I thought, let's, kind of theorize based on some of the titles here. It's worth noting that there's 3 weeks where there will be
Yeah.
double episodes, which seems significant, especially that one in the middle is very curious.
A mid-season sort
Yeah,
of.
you kind of expect it for premiere and finale, but having it in the middle is very interesting. So, yeah. So, Keaton, what are some of your thoughts here as we look through this list?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to say. I mean, some things like Faster and the Outpost. I mean, that could be anything,
Right.
right? But I would say that I talked about. I think Spoils of War and Ruins of War. I'm kind of wondering. That seems to be sort of a retrospect. Maybe I mean, clearly it's things have gotten worse. I would say with Ruins of War since
Yeah.
the last time we saw the Bad Batch, which was in the immediate Order 66 fallout.
Mm-hmm.
But Spoils of War, I don't know. Is that maybe do we get some more Imperial perspective with that first episode? Maybe with Cody that we know is in this season of Bad Batch. Maybe Crosshair, sort of
Crosshair. Yeah, that's what I was
how
thinking.
things are going for them, and the Empire as a whole. Obviously, I would believe we would have some of the Andor things. No, not yet. I'm trying to think.
Right.
I'm getting my timeline set up. I'm just.
I think
Yeah.
the one that interests me, February 8th, the Clone Conspiracy and Truth and Consequences.
Yeah, I would
Really,
expect some, yeah.
that you mentioned Commander Cody, and he was one of the things that I was really pumped about seeing, because we haven't seen him since Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's a character that a lot of people have theorized on what he would have done. He obviously turned on Obi-Wan and, blast him. And
yep,
he had a lot less hesitancy than Rex, with Ahsoka. So I kind of have that circled in my mind as a double episode where we get a big Cody arc,
I
because
would
it
think so.
just Clone Conspiracy, excuse me, Clone Conspiracy and Truth and Consequences. That just feels like Cody trying to figure out what happened or what is going on and find, the truth and consequences.
Yeah,
Finding out about their inhibitor chip and then the fallout from that.
yeah, it's a little interesting because, obviously we hear from the trailer that Cody points out that there are clones who are starting to doubt the Empire, I
Yeah.
think in
Questioning the
Crosshair.
order, he says.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if that is, I mean, obviously, I don't know if that's that episode specifically,
Mm-hmm.
but it certainly, I think, is going to tie into that. What's interesting is that I didn't think Cody was going to be one who would kind of soften up. Um, I kind of thought that would be a cool foil to Rex in that sense. I kind of
That
thought that would
he
be,
would
yeah,
just stay the company line
but
kind of
it
thing.
seems like they've kind of given, because that's how, I mean, in Legends that was a thing, and when he was rumored to have appeared in Obi-Wan, the Obi-Wan show, that was a thing.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they've just kind of been like, well, Crosshair's kind of already doing that,
Yeah.
but I mean, so if there
True.
is a Cody redemption arc, then I don't think that I don't know if he makes it out of this season of television alive.
No, it's kind of hard to think that, like, if Cody has a redemption arc, that, knowing that Rex, because of Rebels, that Rex will be around for a while.
Right.
It's hard to imagine that Cody is also out there growing old. Like, it kind of, I feel like it might be setting up for a really good but really bittersweet arc where he comes around and gets redemption, but then,
Sure.
whether he sacrifices himself to save, the Batch or Omega or whoever. Yeah, I like you said, I feel like if he has a redemption arc, the chances of him making out of the season alive are pretty slim.
Yeah, and I'm just not sure that happens for
The
him. I'm looking
yeah,
again. Metamorphosis is
that was the
interesting.
one I was just gonna
I would
say.
say right there,
Metamorphosis is
yeah.
interesting.
I don't know. I mean, who knows what that means? And
Yeah,
yeah, that's a good point. Is that Cody would definitely have been with Wolf, Rex,
yeah,
Gregor,
you would
um,
think. Yeah, if he had
that
come
bunch.
around, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking. The summit. My theory is Mount Tantus, which we saw at the end of Bad Batch season 1, which is we know is a
Mm,
Imperial. If I'm remembering correctly from Legends, it's a Imperial cloning facility. I think Palpatine was very much in the weeds of that one, and so I'm wondering if
mm,
this is kind of like we kind of have this TV universe being established here. I'm assuming that is very
yeah,
much going to be connected maybe to the Mandalorian in some ways.
yeah.
But we'll see. I don't really. I mean, the summit could also just be like completely metaphorical. I don't know.
It's true. Yeah, so Brown Eyes of Mandalore. Um, do you think Cody will die this season? So I think if he has a redemption arc, I think yes. Just because I think, it starts getting crowded the more,
Yeah,
good guy clones you have. Like it kind of um it's kind of like with the Jedi. Like you have to be careful how many Jedi you have floating around in the aftermath of Order 66, because
sure.
if they're everywhere, then Luke becomes a little less special in a way.
Yeah,
So it's kind of the same, I feel like, with the clones. Like you're probably not going to have legions of clones running around, you know, um, more than like we did see in Obi-Wan, the one that was like
on the street.
homeless on the
Yeah,
street. Yeah, I
yeah.
feel like you might see some of that. But I feel like Cody is a character that if he had a redemption arc, he would be doing something about it. He wouldn't end up
I think
on the
so.
street.
I think that'll
Um,
be yeah. I think he just his redemption might come as a result of sticking his nose where it doesn't belong. You know,
yeah,
yeah, literally like a
right.
forced arc. But we'll see. I
Man,
mean, I'm
could you
very curious.
imagine if Crosshair takes Cody out? Like if
Very
Cody
possible.
like discovers the truth and then like talk about how dark they could go with Crosshair, you know?
Yeah, and he's already. I mean, I think it was episode 2, maybe of season 1, where he's sort of he pretty much guns down a group of civilian
Yeah. Yeah.
civilian rebels. Um, Yeah, no, I mean, I think they wanna make you hate Crosshair as much as
Yeah.
possible. Um, and, I don't know, it's hard to say where the what the future of this group is,
Right.
in terms of, their place in, the rebellion and larger canon,
Mhm.
so I don't know. We'll see what their long-term plan is, but, yeah, I think making Crosshair do questionable, horrible things is on the agenda.
Yeah. It sure seems that way. That would be like at first in season 1, I thought like, well, like certainly Crosshair is gonna come around at some point. And now I'm like, I don't know. He might not, you know?
Yeah, sort of teased it at the end of the 1st season, right?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like you want that, obviously. You want that for the character. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard to say what they're gonna do. Obviously, excuse me. I don't think they're gonna go like crazy dark because it is, after all, still like geared toward
Sure.
fairly geared toward families, I would say.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, and the metamorphosis one is one that I'm curious like what that refers to.
It's always just, such a, eye-grabbing word.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the crossing, retrieval, metamorphosis. So, I mean, March 1st, forgive me, is that not the Mandalorian premiere date as well?
Yeah, there is overlap. Yeah.
So,
I know there is overlap.
that's interesting.
I think
Could
you
be
might.
something connected
Yeah,
there.
March 1st. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if
Can you
they're. I mean,
imagine if the debut episode of Mandalorian, like one of the Bad Batch pops up in live
you
action?
never know. I mean, yeah,
Not the whole crew, because that would like
yeah.
totally take the tension out of the entire
Well, I mean, I
show.
think
But like what if, whether it's
Omega.
Omega
Yeah,
or Hunter or
Omega.
something?
They've already. I mean, I'm assuming at some point within the canon, Omega and Boba Fett have to meet. So
Oh, that would be
they're
interesting.
the. I mean, they're the Alpha and the Omega. So
Nice.
yep.
I see what you did there.
Yep.
Well,
So yeah,
let's
no, I mean,
yeah.
this is exciting, but it's hard to say. I assume there'll be about
Yeah.
maybe 45 half hours, 45 minutes, half hour episodes, maybe one of the two. Um,
Higgy
we'll
says
see.
live action
Yeah, I'd love to
Rex
see.
as seen in Return of the Jedi. LOL.
That is one of the cool. Yeah, that is one of the retcons that I have gladly embraced.
Which, yeah,
You know
I
what he's talking
guess
about?
like, yeah, the Nick Sant, right? Is his name the
Yeah,
guy
yeah,
from Return of the
the
King, or
beard
from
guy.
Return of the King, Return of the Jedi? Yeah, the
Yup.
bearded guy,
Yeah,
like the random bearded
yeah,
guy. But like, there's people like really upset when they made that retcon. Like, it's like,
sure.
what? That's actually an awesome retcon, in my opinion. In
Yeah.
my opinion,
And they did it in a
like,
subtle way because they released that, I think it's Galaxy of Heroes, the animated shorts or something. Galaxy Adventures or
mm,
Galaxy here, Galactic something. Someone will know in the chat. But
yeah.
they're like these mini shorts that you can watch on YouTube. And one of them is when the rebels are attacking the shield bunker on Endor, and they added Rex's forearm, like his forearm armor, to the character. And
Oh,
they didn't,
nice.
no one says anything; they just added it. So it's like the most subtle retcon, but it's a good
Yeah.
one. I agree
And they
with it.
do say, like, in Rebels, they say that he fought in the Battle of Endor,
Yeah,
the Hera's voiceover.
yeah. So it's cool.
And yeah,
He's an
I was
old clone though with the
right.
aging. So
But hey, Rex is awesome. I love Rex. I'm always excited to see him pop up. And I would love to see a live action Rex.
I
Get
agree.
Tamara Morrison in there.
I'd agree.
That'd
Yeah,
be
I'm all
pretty
for
cool.
that. Speaking of
Yeah.
Tamara.
Yeah. Speaking of Tamora, let's move on to topic. Well, we don't really have topic numbers. We're just free flowing. But so Tamara Morrison recently said that Boba Fett, that is,
Yeah.
in case you're wondering, needs to be more BA going forward.
Yeah, he said this more than once at this point now,
Yeah.
since the show's release. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. Look, I mean, Boba Fett
Yeah. Go
had
ahead. You go ahead and then I'll go. Yeah.
Boba Fett had a lot of legends. We're comparing him to legends, which is years upon years of writing and expansion, and we haven't had Boba Fett back as long yet. Now, I would tell you, I think they just need to decide because obviously his Mandalorian debut when the character was brought back
Mm-hmm.
was very BA.
Yeah.
I mean, he was cracking stormtrooper helmets with that, gaffy stick.
Yeah, he
Very
was.
cool. And then he's, like shooting the ship down with his rocket. Very cool. Yeah, and then Boba Fett was kind of weird. It was kind of the Mandalorian 2.5 situation, which I think is
Yeah.
originally how the show was introduced, but I think that it was introduced like I don't think anyone remembered by the time the show came out that it was going to be like a Mandalorian supplement show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love a Book of Boba Fett season 2 where it's Boba Fett having to like really solidify his rule by laying down the law a bit harder.
Yeah. He just was like, I didn't understand his infatuation with Tatooine all of a sudden. Like,
Yeah.
Like these are my people and stuff. It's like they're not though. Like why do you think these are your
Maz
like
Espa of all
like
places.
it's like
Yeah.
it's like I
Yeah.
mean we've looked at, spoiler alert, we've looked at his travels. We know where all he's gone, and like it's like you don't it's like this isn't like your second home, man. Like, you know, it
Yeah,
it just felt. I mean, I actually I kind of like the aspect of, a bounty hunt, like a lifetime bounty hunter. It's like kind of like the, an old Western trope where like
for sure.
you would want to like get out of the game, or like assassins who like want to get out of the game. It's like it happens in movies and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I just felt like it was lacking, those BA moments that we saw him do in The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I think it's weird. Yeah, it's hard because I think
I
the
think
character
he
has
says he became spiritually bonded to the Sarlacc while in its belly and made
he
Tatooine
was so bonded
his
with it that he
home.
dropped a bomb in its mouth.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, he had time with the sand people, but it was
yeah,
like I don't know how long that was.
I think it was
Not
a few years.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah,
That's a little long. Yeah, I guess that's a decent amount of
it's a few
time.
years. You don't get that impression necessarily without kind of
Yeah.
thinking about how it lines up with the Mandalorian episode
Yeah.
where he saves Fennec, but it is a few
Right.
years because I mean, if he's rescued right like a few days after Return of the Jedi,
Right. Yeah, that's
then
true.
that would be a few, at least
Yeah.
five,
Yeah, that's true.
um, at
But
least 5 or
still,
10.
like, I think more so than his actions. And, you can debate whether that's, something that he should or would have done, deciding to, become the new Jabba. I think what I missed was more of the morally gray aspect of
Yeah.
Boba. That was kind of more what I expected. Like we kind of get with Din in Mandalorian, we get kind of the more honorable and whereas Boba, I just kind of associate him being. I mean, they're both bounty hunters, I guess, but I don't know. Boba just always, and maybe this is too much of legend stuff leaking in, but he kind of seems like a character that would do better being morally gray and being separated from
Yeah.
a more honorable guy like Din.
Yeah, if yeah, I know in Legends, he kinda became like a mentor, uh, to, I think he actually mentored, Jaina Solo,
Oh
who
yeah.
at one point, I think he could be stand to be like someone who is very recluse, very like grumpy, begrudgingly getting involved in things.
Hmm.
Sort of like I mean, I guess I'm describing Han Solo, which is probably an issue. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard with Boba because we just got the character back, and then
Yeah.
it seems like he's already in the settling phase
Yeah.
versus like reestablishing his status in the new canon, right? Um,
Hmm.
so it's hard. It's hard. I mean, because I don't know. It's like some of the scenes we're getting where Bo is like, throwing a dinner party, or
Right. Yeah.
which is, I mean, it was cool. I mean,
I guess it's like
there was like some
political
Godfather vibes,
implications. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the issue was too is just a lot of people were doing his work for him, and I think we want
Hmm.
to see him do
Do more
the work.
himself. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think they had a unique challenge too, because like what people would expect of a Boba Fett show is probably pretty close to what we got with Mandalorian.
Well,
Like
that's
that's
yeah,
kind of I know that's not some something that hasn't been said before. Like millions of people have said this, but like the Mandalorian show is kind of the Boba Fett show, and then when you go to make a Boba Fett show after you've made one with someone
yeah.
else,
The character is
yeah, like
non-existent in Din
yeah,
Djarin. It's interesting too. If you look at
yeah,
some of the early Mandalorian concept art, it's a Boba Fett model.
yeah.
So it's funny. I'll bring you.
Screw it,
Yeah,
I'll just bring you in cold, Boba
definitely Empire
price.
Strikes Back. Boba would
Yeah.
say that.
Oh, so this
Yeah,
is so Brown Eyes of Mandalore brings up something I loved from Book of Boba Fett, which was seeing Cad Bane. I
yeah.
love
He's great.
I love that character. He is like pure Western, and I
He's
I
great.
grew up watching Western movies, and so
Mhm.
whenever Star Wars like merges into that, goes into
Sure.
that classic, and it's part of the reason why, when I was here in the last like 5 years, I'd say I was introduced to like the films of Kurosawa and
Uh-huh.
like some of those classic samurai movies, and I'm like,
Yes.
I latched onto them because they're the stories, and they're so similar in tone and everything to westerns
Yeah.
and samurai movies borrow from each other a lot. And whenever Star Wars delves into that kind of story, so like when and we'll get into Ahsoka more later, but Dave Filoni mentioned Ahsoka being like a samurai story. I
Very much.
immediately
Yeah.
thought, like, absolutely, I am on board
Yeah.
for that. But yeah,
Okay.
so Cad Bane is one of those characters I absolutely love. His whole Boba Fett is a
Yeah.
cold-blooded killer who worked for the
Yeah.
Empire.
I will say, I mean, I remember when he the shot where he appears like as a distant figure in the desert. I was like, "Oh my god." Cuz like I saw the hat from like
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
see the hat
yeah.
because and I mean, he just like absolutely lays out that deputy in Cobb Vanth and you're like, "Wow." He's, because of course he does. I mean,
Yeah,
it's Cad Bane, but
right.
no, I don't think he's dead. We didn't see Toto, and Toto is
Oh,
always around
yeah,
where Cad Bane is. I mean,
yeah. I feel like,
he's he's got to get his he's gonna
oh,
get his little
nice.
retrieve because he had the little thing beeping on his chest.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Like, the thing was beeping. I was like, there is no way they just brought Cad Bane into live action to immediately kill him off. Like, the character's too awesome, man.
you'd hope not.
I freaking love Cad
It's
Bane.
an interesting thing with a lot of these animated characters. Like you got like Hondo, Ahsoka, Cad Bane, like characters that like I feel like are they're like people are really scared to kill one day.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
To kill off one day. Um Ahsoka, I'm
And like
totally
some of them are
for
getting
being around.
old too, you know?
I mean,
Like,
Cat Bane, I mean, that's a lot of people were
yeah,
like talking about the color of his like his face and like, well,
skin,
yeah,
yeah.
he's like 70, like he's like in his old man Eastwood phase right now.
Clint
Like,
Eastwood's like 90, man,
yeah,
and he's
he's like,
still like,
this
yeah,
guy's like, definitely 70 plus years old, and who knows what that is in Duros years. So,
right. Like, so it's funny because the movie Unforgiven, which is one of the greatest westerns of all time, I absolutely love that movie. That is like old Clint Eastwood, you know, and that was made 30 years ago. That
yeah,
movie is 30 years old, and that's old Clint Eastwood, and he's still going, guys. So Cad Bane, who, yeah, he's essentially Clint Eastwood in Star Wars.
yeah.
I think the fact that he's still going at 70 years old is nothing.
So yeah, I mean, I
He's
was
got
just
at least 20 years, guys. Cad Bane could be kicking it for 20 years at least.
it would be great if he popped up in Mando season 3, but we'll see.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I
That would
mean,
be an interesting. I mean, it makes more sense for Boba to have like that, you know. I'm thinking like, okay, who could take Cad Bane out, and it be like a satisfying end to the character. And Boba is a pretty good. I mean, they've already done it once.
yeah,
So,
the animated. You talking about the animated deleted scene, or you talking about the death in Boba Fett?
well, I'm talking about the death in Boba Fett,
Yeah,
but
I mean, have you ever watched the Clone Wars deleted scene where they have their shootout? How Boba gets the dent in his helmet?
oh, I
So
think I have. It's
there's a deleted scene
yeah.
back when Clone Wars was originally canceled.
Hmm.
Um, it was like a whole bounty hunter subplot of the Clone Wars season, and it's Boba Fett, like a younger Boba Fett, and Cad Bane have like a whole like quick draw moment,
Okay.
and Boba kills Cad Bane, and then Cad Bane shoots Boba in the head, but that's how he gets the dent right there.
And he keeps it.
However, in I think it's in Book of Boba Fett, Cad Bane has like a metal plate or something in his head, which kind of nods to the fact that maybe they did have that confrontation
Yeah.
already, and he survived it. But I don't know. I mean, I'd love to. I love that's. I think that's the only way for him to go out. I feel like the gaffy stick stab. I kind of wanted a little bit more, but I feel like the best way for him to go out is just to get blasted, because
Yeah.
it's just
It's a gunslinger. Like,
yeah,
he's a gunslinger.
gunslingers,
He should go out in, a blaze of glory. Well, maybe not a blaze of glory, but he should go out, at a shootout,
yeah,
like one-on-one shootout. Kind of like he had set up with gosh, I'm blanking on
Cobb
his
Vanth.
name. Cobb Vanth, yeah.
Yeah.
How you know, and he did a little bit with Boba there, but like, one-on-one, the tumbleweeds are
Yeah.
going across the road, whatever the Star Wars version of tumbleweeds are.
Yeah. They may
Um,
actually have like a tumbleweed.
Higgy, that's a good point. Lee Van Cleef character. So Keaton, I don't know.
Yeah, you have to translate.
Okay, so Lee Van Cleef is like in so you're familiar with like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that and the movie that comes right before that, Lee Van Cleef plays like a rival gunslinger in both those
Oh,
different characters. But the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, especially, he's the bad,
okay.
and
Yeah,
Clint
yeah, yeah,
Eastwood's the
yeah.
good. So I could actually see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, he's awesome. Lee
Yeah.
Van Cleef is awesome. Clint Eastwood's awesome. Cad Bane's awesome.
I think to kind of wrap up on
Podwans are here, by the way.
hello, Podlins.
Hey, Podwans.
I think to wrap up the thoughts on that, I think it would be great to see Boba get off world. Because even
Yes.
when he was
Yeah.
off world with when they were trying to rescue Grogu, that was all cool stuff. And he had,
Yeah.
he was just as he had his like humor moments too, still, all of that. But we still got to see a
But you
little
got to
bit.
see like Slave One in action and everything.
Yes, the seismic charge return.
Yeah.
It was great too. I mean, I actually liked him riding the Rancor in the finale. I thought that was cool, and I was like, yeah, I mean, that would make sense. He just roll up into town.
I mean, I
Just
would have
bring
gone for the ship personally.
sure. I mean, yeah, they just bring in Slave One in, but I think but yeah, it's just like it's kind of. I'm gonna be very curious to see what happens in Mando season 3, because they even referenced, I think, in season 2. It was either in season 2 of The Mandalorian or in Book of Boba Fett. I don't remember, but that the Mandalore will ride the Mythosaur.
Yeah.
That kind of reminded me of that moment with Boba. But who knows? Maybe there's a Mythosaur that's somewhere like under the city of Mandalore. That because it's where we're going in season 3.
Season 3 Mando, yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, who knows? I would love to see Boba still, and I hope that he gets more opportunities to shine.
Yeah. They should have a Cad Bane Boba Fett overlong Good, the Bad, and the Ugly shootout. So have you actually seen Good, Bad, and the Ugly?
Like bits and pieces. I'm not a good film student.
So the last final shootout, it's actually what's called a Mexican standoff, where there's 3 guys and they're like equidistant, and so it's ridiculously long how much they cut between like these guys looking at each other, and like it gets to where it's just close-ups of their eyes and they're just looking around. And so for that, guys, we would have to
Bosk
have a third person. Yeah, so we need like Bosk or somebody.
Thing is, Bosk doesn't use a pistol though.
And spoiler alert, in Good and Bad and the Ugly, it's revealed that the third guy, the Ugly, doesn't his gun's not loaded, the one that Clint Eastwood gives him. So yeah, because the other 2 guys, they're going after each other. So it would almost it would be kind of cool and poetic if they did the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, Higgy says 3 solid minutes of shifty eyes behind Mando helms. Yeah, just the helmets, and you're not even seeing people's eyes moving, just the visor.
Just full body turns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Mando season 3, let's go launch right into that. So what are you
good segue so
what are
far.
you hoping for Mando season 3? I'm pumped for it. Like,
yeah, it's hard. I mean, the trailers, obviously we're going to be spending some time on Mandalore, which is great. Obviously we see that we kind of see a better look of it post Purge.
Yeah.
What is, oh god, the battle, the Night of something Tears. I'm
Night of a
forgetting.
Thousand Tears
Yeah,
or something. Yeah,
they showed the
it's
flashback with Grogu.
very similar to Tolkien's Battle of Unnumbered
Yes,
Tears.
which you have to think there's probably some
I mean,
inspiration.
I'm cool with that. Like,
Cool with
I
that.
have no problem with people paying homage to Tolkien.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we got I had seen something recently. I wasn't sure the validity of it, but there might be some trips to Coruscant in this season.
Mm,
I think it was like a maybe from a still or something that someone was saying that's Coruscant, and I don't recall, but that would be great. I think Coruscant's been vastly underutilized in recent years. So,
yeah,
um, I think really I mean, obviously Andor, we got Coruscant a good bit, but really the only time before that was in that Jyn Erso flashback in Rogue One. Her parents and Krennic are in a Coruscant apartment, I think,
mm.
and that's been it. Like besides, animation maybe, but yeah, I would love to see that. Mando and not Manda.
That's because it's masculine, not feminine. That's a
Right.
Spanish. It's a Spanish thing, guys. You didn't know, man. Mandalore is it's based on the Spanish language, so that's why that is. Yeah. Uh, I'm curious to see, like, they've got to do some kind of recap at the beginning though,
Yeah, yeah, because
because
of
the
Boba
fact
Fett.
that because of Boba Fett, and like as if you were, I don't know that there's that many people. I guess like casual fans, there could be people who skipped to Boba Fett or didn't make it to the Mandalorian episodes. And so
Sure.
like they would show up for season 3 and be confused as heck. What I thought Grogu was with Luke and he's back here with Mando
Yeah,
now. What is going on?
I'm sure you're
So
right.
I'm sure they're gonna have to have some kind of recap thing
I think I saw on Twitter today, someone posted a synopsis.
of season 3.
I think so, but I'm not sure. I don't want to read it just in case it's not real.
Mm,
But I mean, basically, I think it said that what we all know is that the Mandalorian and Grogu are reunited. And then we obviously, I mean, we all know. Well, I guess only if you've seen Boba Fett,
yeah,
you know that he's going to have to go to the the springs under Mandalore to dip in and
yeah,
become Mandalorian again, if that's really his path. But no, it looks great. I mean, we're going to see a lot of different Mandalorians in this season. Seems
yeah.
so. Excited for
Stabworthy,
that.
we are live right now.
We are.
So welcome. Thank you for watching and
Thank
joining
you.
us.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they've obviously implied that they have a lot of secrets up their sleeve.
Yeah.
Because they kept, I mean, they kept Grogu a secret, right? Which was
Mm-hmm.
huge in season one.
Yeah.
They kept Luke
They
Skywalker.
passed up revenue on toys to
Yeah,
keep Grogu a secret. But I mean, come on. It's a baby Yoda. Like, they had to know that they would make
yeah,
that up in the long run.
yeah.
I
But
mean,
even
think of
yeah,
how much baby Yoda stuff has been
I mean, look at my
sold
room. I've
since
got
then,
three.
right?
I've got
Yeah.
like two or three Grogus in huge
Yeah.
slot. But and then Luke was conceptualized as Plo Koon just to keep. I mean,
Yeah.
you had commissioned art wasted kind of just to make sure people
Which is
didn't see.
hilarious because it's like Plo Koon's dead, man. Like he's gone.
I would have
Like,
loved for it to have been Plo Koon though, low key.
but
I
he's
kind of like
dead.
Plo.
We saw him die in Revenge of the Sith.
You didn't see a body.
I mean, we saw his ship get hit,
He could have ejected.
crashed
He
on
could have
fire. He went like this, and then it crashed into the side of a building.
And but it's like, hold on. If
I
they
mean,
bring Star Wars characters, you never know.
I would have concept arted it as Mace Windu, because then
Yeah,
people would have but then there'd be some people be really mad if
the
you thought
thing
Samuel L. Jackson was coming back and then he didn't.
thing about Mace Windu is why the heck would he not like want to just absolutely destroy Darth Vader? He wouldn't just stay.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't lay in
And,
the shadows.
like
Yeah.
like I just I don't know about. Oh, I mean, they could force ghost him, maybe. Not that makes sense because he wouldn't have known how, but
Right.
I think they make any. I mean,
That doesn't.
I
That's
think
not going
anyone
to
could be.
stop them. Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? I'm excited to see what's secret. Yeah, I think that is correct. Pod ones. I think Thrawn is where we're heading, especially with the Ahsoka
Yeah.
show. Um,
I love Thrawn, by the
Mandoverse. That's
way.
a cool. So when we say Mandoverse, I'm wondering if we're considering like animated shows in that too, because they're certainly
Mm.
contributing. But I guess Mandoverse because
I
it's
mean,
the
what do
first
you
show.
you have you have Bad Batch.
Bad
What else?
Batch. I don't like Andor. Like, is that? I mean, it
I
could.
mean, that's not
It could.
animated. I was asking like what other animated
Oh,
shows.
oh.
It's pretty much just Bad Batch, right? That you'd consider part of that.
I mean, maybe if Star Wars Resistance would have continued, but that didn't
Oh yeah.
really. I'm fairly certain that's not happening.
I didn't
Um,
watch that one.
Disney XD. Um,
Mm.
yeah, no, I think Thrawn is safe to say. I think the animated parts will like contribute in terms of locations and like plot elements, but yeah, I think the action, what we'll end up seeing, the culmination is certainly going to
Yeah.
be live action. Going to be probably, I think we'll have a clearer target
Yeah.
after the Ahsoka show because obviously I think she's going to be the thread that connects
Yeah.
all these,
That
right?
connects it.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I've told you this before, but um I'm a big fan of the Thrawn books.
yeah,
I've been going through the audiobooks. The audiobooks are really well done. And yeah, so I've gotten to know more about that character since he popped up in Rebels when I
uh
was watching that one with my kids. That's another one of my kids' favorites is Rebels. Um,
Rebels is great. I love Rebels.
especially like that was their first foray into the anime. Like I showed them the 6 movies first. Um, but yeah, from you can like Rebels is one of those that's very accessible to young kids.
Yeah, 100%.
Um, and yeah, so when Thrawn popped up, like I knew of him from the Legends stuff a little bit. I had not read the books. But I
He's a
knew
bad
some
dude.
of the big I knew some of the big plot lines. I knew, what his character was like and everything. And then seeing him in Rebels, I was like, oh yeah, this guy's pretty interesting. He seems like a cool villain. And then that made me want to go into the new series of books. And so I like devoured those first 3, and now I'm going back through like
Yeah,
the prequel ones, the ascendancy ones now. Um and
they're great. I mean, Timothy
yeah.
Zahn is great. I'm actually just starting the audiobooks as well. Um, Big fan of how they do with the sound designs and such.
Yeah, and
Really great.
I find that like because I've heard like other audiobooks, and I've talked about this on Nerd of the Rings where um they'll use like music throughout from like there's
Yeah,
the one famous ones for the Lord of the Rings where they use the Howard Shore music and everything. But for me those like it just gets too much with music just constantly, but the Star Wars ones do a great job, I feel like, of dialing it up at times, but then they bring it down to more white noise.
yeah,
More of like an ambient sound rather
I
than
agree.
like, Howard Shore's music for like the Lord of the Rings ones. It's so active and everything, and like it evokes so much emotion on its own. It's hard to like, for me at least, it's hard for me to like pay attention and soak in what's happening plot wise for audiobook. But yeah, like all that to say, like the Star Wars audiobooks that I've
Yeah,
listened to so far are really, really good. Um,
yeah, I
got to get
agree.
into High Republic before Acolyte comes
I
out. Yeah, I
I've
haven't
been
touched any High Republic yet.
I've been telling him I was like, we have to make sure that we're all caught up because I'm a little bit more into it than like I'm a little
Mm.
bit more into it, but I'm not fully caught up on High Republic. As of yet, and they're pumping stuff out. I just got to catch up. That's
Yeah,
just it.
there's yeah. It
But
makes it
definitely before
daunting when there's a
Acolyte.
lot.
I'm not gonna. One thing about me is I'm not gonna go in with my guard. Like I'm not gonna go in looking dumb before I start watching a show.
Right. Yeah.
So we will get there for sure.
Higgy, I will say, Ahsoka's novel is in my Audible library now, so I'm trying to get through the prequel Thrawns first, and then I'm gonna come back and listen to Ahsoka. I realized we launched into 2023 without talking about 2022 like we planned.
Well, I mean, 2022. I
So,
mean, like this year, I feel like was.
I mean, we
kind of
talked about Boba Fett, so we talked about
Yeah.
Boba. We're
I
just
mean,
we're a little
yeah,
all over the place, but
and we can talk
so
about
the other
Andor.
two big ones, the other two
Yeah.
big ones from this past year. So we're gonna get into Jedi Survivor and Ahsoka here in a little bit, but before we get too far, let's circle back and talk about Andor and Obi-Wan.
Oh,
which is two shows that let's see here. I had very clear levels of excitement going into them, and very I'd say almost like close to opposite levels of excitement going into them, and I came out with opposite
yeah,
levels of excitement the
sure,
other way by the time
sure.
they were done. So
Yeah.
which one do you want to tackle first?
Well, we can take it chronologically.
Or we can do them both. All right, at the same
Yeah,
time.
we'll go into it. I think so. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Right, let me call it proper Kenobi, right? Or no, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's what we end up. I always call it
Yes,
Kenobi
that is
because
his name. He is the main character of the show. Keaton, very good.
I was a fan of the Kenobi novel that was Legends, so I always just called the show because the basically the novel was him on Tatooine, all that. So Obi-Wan Kenobi, here is the thing that is tricky. I went in with a lot of like fan expectations. I'll admit the trailers got me ready to like hear Battle of the Heroes like remixed, Duel of the Fates remixed. And I know that I should have like I get that that's not fair for me to have been like, you know, like pouting because I didn't hear it. I know.
Yeah.
But don't it's in the trailer. I don't know. Like it's
right. Yeah.
It's such a and that I know I like Natalie Holt. I liked what she did in Loki. I thought her score was really good in Loki. I guess I was a bit meh about it in Obi-Wan because I thought I thought something else was already established going in. That was a big thing for me because I kept music informs so much of Star Wars, and again, I didn't hate it, but I think I was because I was waiting to hear it so much. I was actively waiting to hear it. I was maybe I was neglecting the show in a way because of that. I thought Ewan McGregor was awesome, and what he still brings it like that. I think he found this amazing middle ground with like where he was vocally in Revenge of the Sith and where Alec Guinness is in New Hope. I think he like landed perfectly like in the middle there.
Yeah. Can I just say that like I love that Ewan McGregor did not, because so often when you see people take on a role that someone else has made iconic, they are like afraid to try to mirror that in any way. You know, they almost like they almost try to go a different route altogether just to like so they don't get comparisons. But Ewan McGregor, like from the behind the scenes stuff of the prequels, like he owned it and like wanted it to be bridged, you know? And so like I so much admire the fact that like he could, you know, he had the confidence in his own ability and just the character to, you know, to get it right for fans that he sought to emulate to a degree what Alec Guinness had done before him. And yeah, it's to the point where like Ewan McGregor has now, you know, screen time wise played Obi-Wan more than Alec Guinness ever did.
Yeah, and it's crazy. He'll still tell you that Alec Guinness is Obi-Wan.
What's that?
He'll still tell you like Alec Guinness is Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. but like, yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there real quick.
No.
I've always loved that about Ewan McGregor, that he purposely set out to like make, his performance similar to Alec Guinness however he could,
Yeah.
so that there was connective tissue, so you could believe it was the same character, because I feel like a lot of people are afraid to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. And in terms of the show, yeah, I think that all felt natural to me. That still felt like a very reasonable, um, you know, uh, a very accurate portrayal of where he would be, 10 years later. That was all great.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I mean, in terms of the cast, I thought the cast was great and strong. I just think that the first two episodes I really liked. I I agree about Rock.
That
I
that is a
agree. So
really that is a real I've not heard this before. I don't know
yeah,
if this is like a popular thought, but
well,
I
that's what I keep
freaking love
saying
that idea.
that's what I
Holy
keep
crap.
saying when I'm
That
talking
would've been
about
awesome.
he was originally supposed to be like in Kenobi. That's what they
Mm.
say anyway with the old writing team. I like Riva. Like I think it's so weird. I think
Yeah,
like I
yeah.
wanted Riva like in Jedi Survivor or something.
Yeah, that would've
Like
made
because that's kind of where we
more
established the
sense.
Inquisitors. But
Right. It
because
felt
now,
to
yeah,
me like, I don't know if I would I don't know if it's too strong to use the term bait and switch, but to an extent, like, I went into the show expecting Obi-Wan, and I got a lot more of this original character, which, like, is a compelling story on its surface, like,
yeah,
it's not that that I think a youngling who is taken and turned into an inquisitor and, like, has, and, like, comes back from that darkness, like, that's actually,
yeah,
sounds like an interesting story. The problem is that, like, this whole show was built around and marketed around
yeah,
Obi-Wan and Vader, and then, like, what is it? Like, you know, 40% of the show is about Riva, and so I understand why people were frustrated. I was frustrated,
yeah.
because and I don't know if you've seen this. So there's actually a fan edit of the Obi-Wan show,
Mhm.
where they basically, like, take out all the non Obi-Wan stuff,
Oh,
and, like, and I think they take out one of the times that he rescues Leia, I think.
probably the Fortress
Yeah, I
Inquisitorius,
think
I would assume.
maybe it is. Maybe that's still in there. I can't remember. But they basically turned it into a 2.5 hour movie. So it's what, like a 6 hour show, and they
Sure,
turn it
and
into a 2.5 hour movie. And like there's, from as an editor, like you can definitely see like the seams, like the places where the cuts are awkward and like the story beats don't land, and it's not like constructed as a film, so it's really hard to like watch it and
yeah,
experience it like a film. But you can, like, I mean, fan edits, especially when they're quality, like it's really impressive considering they're working with someone else's stuff,
sure. Yeah,
but yeah, it was kind of, it was interesting, and it was enjoyable, because it did like cut out a lot of the what felt like filler to me.
mhm,
Um or not, I guess maybe not filler, but it's stuff that I wasn't expecting, or um so much interested in,
yeah.
like I said, it's especially when it's only 6 episodes, you know
Yeah,
like I
I
expected a show like 6 episodes, like that sounds like, okay, that is, we're going to tell the story of Obi-Wan. And so when they spend so much significant time on an original character, this is the first we're seeing of them, it gets frustrating.
yeah, I mean, here's the thing about Riva. What's really cool about Riva is that it's all like she doesn't even really care about being an inquisitor. It's just the fact that she can like get close to Vader and in her
Right.
mind
And try to take him out.
kill
Yeah.
him. Now, obviously, the audience and you and I, we all know that that's not possible
That's not going to happen.
because
Yeah.
like this,
Yeah.
he's too. But she doesn't know that, and that's a really like that's very in like that's a really cool. It's almost like I imagine that as like a video game of its own, like a Shadow of War, Shadow of Mordor type thing, where you're trying
Yeah,
to climb the ranks, and then it's
and
just
kill, take
you
out
just
Darth
die at
Vader.
the end, like you just die
Right?
at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah.
Um, but like yeah, it just feels like the wrong. It was the maybe it was not the
Right
wrong placement.
vehicle. Yeah, yeah. Like
Um,
it wasn't the right
because then you also have like the
show
Grand
to like.
Inquisitor in there, and you got people talking
Right,
about that too much, and then like she kills spoiler, but not really because he doesn't die. Like
right.
the Grand
Because
Inquisitor,
because
and then you
he's
got
in
people talking about
Rebels,
that the whole
guys.
time,
Yeah,
and it's like,
yeah.
well, I don't know. It's weird because it's like, well, we know he doesn't die, so why cause mayhem among your audience by making it
Right.
like I don't know, like
Yeah.
it was
It
just
was
a
just
lot
like a lot of
things that were
spinning its
happening.
yeah, it was just a lot of
Um,
spinning its wheels,
but it
like,
had, I
yeah.
actually, I really liked the young Leia actress. Thought
Oh, yeah,
she was
yeah.
great. I enjoyed like her and
That is one
Lola.
thing. Okay, so one thing
Yeah,
I really like in the fan edit is he took out like, the ridiculous chase scene where they're trying to
the
chase
forest
down
chase
Leia.
at the
Well,
beginning.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
The one that feels like it should have that one it should have, like, circus music going on or something, or, like
yeah.
I'm trying to think of what it's called, oh gosh, what's that really comedic? It's in a scene in V for Vendetta and a lot of other stuff, but it's
Oh,
like that hokey music. They use it with, like, sped up chase
like the
footage and
Benny
stuff.
Hill theme or
Benny
whatever.
Hill, yes, that's what it
Yeah,
is. Yes. That's what should have been under that original
that's
chase
funny.
footage.
Yeah, they're just tiny moments like that where I just it feels like you could. There's probably an easy fix for it in terms of just how you shoot it. Um, Like, I don't mind a chase for Leia being written, but, like, how could we have shot it more
Mhm.
intelligently, perhaps?
Right, yeah, yeah.
But,
Yeah.
the yeah, I guess the series was just okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is I think that's, like I don't know, like a new series with original characters being okay would be much more palatable than, like, the return of Obi-Wan and Darth Vader
right,
being
and
just okay is,
yeah,
like it's why, I understand why people were more mad about that because, like, there was there's much more hype around it, those are
yeah.
beloved characters. It was odd how at the end, like, she's still alive and she knows that Vader is Anakin.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree.
yeah,
I'm just trying to think of how to phrase this. Um, yeah, I mean, that was very much like a zero tolerance thing for Vader,
yeah,
right? I mean, he lets the Inquisitor get his word in, right? And then they just walk away.
right, yeah.
I don't think it's odd
I will say
because,
I do like how Thrawn figures things out in the novels too. Like
yeah,
figures things out like that Vader is Anakin and stuff.
yeah, and I think yes, like when you can it just feels like this is like luck almost, and that's fine. Maybe look, the Force is a crazy thing. It has its means for what it wants to do, and we don't have to understand it. Sure, that's fine. Um, yeah, the Vader scene in the town was that was
So
brutal. Very
that
gas.
went a long way for me. Mm, like I one of the like as much as I will give a hard time to things that I feel like have been botched over the last several years in regards to Star Wars. I will say like between Rogue One and this series, we've seen some brutal Darth Vader stuff that makes him feel more villainous
Yeah,
than he's felt since like the original trilogy.
yeah, I agree, and I liked that last duel with him and Obi-Wan, but again, he was gonna
Yeah.
leave I don't know if he
Yeah.
believed that
No.
Obi-Wan was dead under a pile of rocks, but,
Right.
um, I don't
I
know,
mean, it was a big pile. It was a big
it
pile of
was a
rocks.
big pile, and then he got them all thrown back at him, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the Vader stuff has been great. I think his portrayal has all been really, really good. No notes on the Vader stuff. Especially
Mhm.
the scene where he like storms into the fortress Inquisitorius and like throws Riva up in the air, like while he's still walking into the room. I was like,
Oh
that's really
yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah,
Just because like you see that stuff all the time, like in games and in comics and
yeah,
such, but it's obviously a much
yeah.
harder to bring that to life on screen.
I did like so as much as I didn't like the aspect that he left Riva alive for some like unknown reason, like that's kind of crazy to me that he would like this person knows that he is Anakin. Like there's no way he leaves
Unless he
her
was just so flustered with getting
alive.
duped by Obi-Wan with the ship that
I
he just was
guess.
like, "Get me out of
Yeah.
here." He
So
was like, "Get me," you know?
it's like this mixed bag thing, and Keaton is frozen.
I
So
think I'm
I'm just
back.
gonna. Oh, there he is. Okay,
Yeah.
I was gonna say monologue time.
Yeah.
Um, so the whole Obi-Wan show is a mixed bag for me because like there are moments that I look at and I'm like, seriously, like why would he leave her alive? Like that makes no sense. Like,
Yeah,
but then I loved like immediately before that how he is just toying with her in their lightsaber duel. Like it's not a
I love
duel.
that duel. It was
Like
cool.
he is just like,
No
you
lightsaber
know,
drawn, just hands.
yeah, he's just like, yeah, just using his
Yeah.
hands, just like dodging. Like he is totally um yeah, like I feel like, you know, like I said, they've done a good job of making Vader be BA, which we were talking about Boba Fett not as being as BA.
Yeah.
But they've actually made Vader be pretty BA in the appearances that he's had in
Agree.
Rogue One and now Obi-Wan. But yeah, so all in
Yeah.
all, Obi-Wan very much a mixed bag. It was one of those where like after it was done, I was like, man, that last battle scene, like I love that. It's like, you know, I feel like I edit in my head, and so I just like
Sure.
I keep my it's like the little inside out characters are in there and they just kind of like throw in the trash the stuff that I don't like.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh yeah, wait, what was that thing where he left Reva alive? No, I'm pretty sure she died. Yeah, I don't like
Yeah.
that
But to
can't be right.
clarify too is that like we don't like you and like we don't want the characters to always be BA. Like they don't have to come in and just destroy things every time. Like I don't get all of my enjoyment from watching Vader destroy a hallway of
Oh,
rebel.
right. Yeah.
I'd love to watch him in his meditation chamber, like having a great internal monologue or something too. Like, and that's cool. And I want to make room for new characters developing too.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, we're just saying, like, especially with Boba Fett, like, it is nice to have those moments where you are reminded of like what made these characters scary in the first place. Maybe it's
Yes.
different with Boba because
Yeah.
he's never really on screen done anything. Like he was just
Right.
stood
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But like we know
Yes.
what his dad was capable
Yeah.
of. So
And
it's like,
it's
yeah,
more like what you build up in your head too.
sure.
Like Boba Fett for no more screen time than he had in the original trilogy. Like uh
You look cool.
yeah, he
You
looked
look
cool and people like just associate like that guy looks so BA. He must be BA.
Yeah.
And
But
yeah, I
yeah.
mean,
It's no
yeah.
yeah.
Like there's no evidence that he wasn't BA.
Right. You can't
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah. But it's like,
Um
yeah, it's like, no, we don't want a show that's just like nonstop action. Not saying that. It's just, like with Kenobi, I would have preferred he stayed on Tatooine. Like I
mm.
was kind of ready for like the sad Obi-Wan like sitting in a cave, like really going through it moments.
I was
Um
ready for Darth Maul to show up. That's what I was ready for. I just
you
want like that
want
end
Owen to
scene.
kill him again.
That yes, I want to see Obi-Wan kill Maul again, just
And that's
like
another
in
thing too
Rebels,
is
because it is so freaking good.
I just don't want them to touch that. I would want that as like they need to go in like the museum of something. Like we just need to not touch that. We
What if
just
they just recreate it shot for shot
That's
with
fine.
Ewan McGregor?
No, I agree. And you get you and honestly, like I love. You could probably bring Ray Park back and then have Sam voice over him again. That's what they
Yeah,
did in
Sam.
Solo. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
dude.
I know
Oh yeah, man.
because that's what they did in Solo, and everyone was like, "What?" But it was cool.
Yeah.
No,
I just want yeah.
But
because then
that is like a top
like
5 Star Wars moment. It's kinda
like
crazy.
we just do that whole episode from Rebels and just make it live action, a one-off
Yeah, it's great.
random
I love
live
it. What
action.
yeah,
Yeah, like, and it's and to your point, like about like these characters don't have to be doing these amazing BA
yeah,
things, but it's about like, you know, um, it's also about meaningful moments for these beloved characters.
yeah,
Um, like that scene is a great example. It is like the shortest lightsaber fight in Star Wars history, I
yeah.
swear.
It's
You
yeah,
know,
and it's this full
but
circle
but it
moment
is
for Obi-Wan.
yeah, but
Yeah,
it's a full circle moment. It is packed with deeper meaning because of the history between the characters, and like that Obi-Wan is like, especially the way like Maul taunts him
yeah,
about Luke, like it's so, there's just
yeah.
so it's just so freaking good, Keaton.
I know. The way Sam puts it, it's that feistiness, the urge of Obi-Wan to, like, kind of embrace that almost the Padawan days and immediately fight back, but then taking a breath,
Mhm.
stepping back into the Qui-Gon.
Changes the pose,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then it's easy from there because he's not gonna fall for the same thing twice.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
it's great. I mean,
It's so freaking
that's
good.
top S tier, whatever you wanna call it.
I'm gonna,
Stu
like, go turn on that episode right after this stream.
It's great. It's fantastic. But speaking of meaningful moments, we can talk about Andor now.
Oh, yes. Dude,
I'm gonna make everything a
gladly.
segue.
So as I'll say underwhelmed is
Sure.
probably a good term that I use whenever I'm disappointed in a TV show or a movie,
Mhm.
that I've used, um, a fair number of times recently, we'll say that. Um,
Yep.
so as underwhelmed as I was with a good chunk of Obi-Wan, but not all of it. Like I said, there were moments that I loved in it. Um, Andor was one that caught me a little off guard. Like I love Rogue One. I think it's really
Yeah,
good.
same.
Um, and I felt like, they dropped the first 3 episodes at once, and I remember thinking at the time like, yeah, there's probably like, you know, an episode and a half to 2 episodes of like really solid show in this first 3 episodes. Like I understood why they did 3, because at the end of 3
Yes.
is kind of where the story like starts
Yeah.
kicking in,
1 and 2 are slow boil for sure,
Yes.
like,
Yeah.
very slow
So
boil.
I'm really glad that they released 3 at a time. Like I was really surprised for one that they would release 3 episodes at the premiere.
Yeah.
But from that moment on, like it just kept building, and yeah, I loved it
It's
personally.
great. A lot of my, like like, there's a lot of people who have asked me who are not, like, huge Star Wars fans if they
Mhm.
would like it, and me knowing that they like, like, solid acting, like, dramatic acting shows, I'm like,
Mhm.
"You actually might because it's, like, kind of like a political thriller, like a wartime, story."
Yeah. It's like
Um,
espionage. You've
like
got like
Argo.
a prison break
Yeah,
going
every
on. Like,
it's so good. I
dude.
mean, the dialogue was the biggest thing for me. Like, it's still very much Star Wars. Like, they're talking
Mhm.
about planets, they're talking about, like, supply runs, they're talking about, all these materials, credits,
The Empire. Yeah.
Empire. Like, you've got a TIE fighter every now and then.
Yeah.
Um, but still, like, it was just, it had the way that I see a lot of people describing it and how I agree, it starts to creep into this deep, like, the layers that Blade Runner has in its 2 movies.
Mm.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree. Those first 3 episodes, yeah, I would say that because there were, how many episodes of Andor were there? I'm already blanking on that.
Was it
I think we hit
12?
double digits. I think 12, so every that would make
It's
sense what you're
definitely
saying.
double digits.
About every 3 episodes
Yeah.
pause, I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, every 3 episodes. I love this series. I tell you, the Mon Mothma stuff actually was some of my favorite.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that just because that's such a as another example of, like, one of those characters who had a few minutes of screen time in the original trilogy and was you were told it was an important
Mhm.
person, right? But
Right.
then, um, Like it's just so like that was
But
so
it's a minor
interesting.
character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
It's a
but
minor
you're like
character.
oh, the stakes for her are so high because everyone she's around is super intelligent.
Mhm.
Like it's not like she's dealing with like lackeys in the empire. Like she's dealing with the ISB. She's dealing with like
Right.
other senators, like Palpatine's down the street. Like
Mhm.
it's just like that's scary, and like it really showed, and especially for people like Luthen too. Like it was, and Skarsgård was the wildest choice for this show for me, but he was
He's
so good.
so freaking good.
He
Yeah.
was so good. I just
Like,
did not expect to see him in
yeah.
it.
Like I can like there are 3 speeches in this show
Yeah,
that
Cassian
like
Andor.
I love how he says
Yeah,
Ander.
yeah,
Um like there are 3 speeches in this show. The One Way Out by Andy Serkis and the one by uh, Luthen where he says like a sunrise that he'll never see, and then the hologram of Cassian's mom, who I
yes.
don't know if you realize this is Aunt Petunia from the Harry
Yeah,
Potter movie.
I did.
Yeah. That was
He was
bugging me
great.
for a few episodes there. I was like,
I know you're like,
gosh, who is this person? Yeah, and then
yeah,
it dawned on me. Those 3 were so freaking good.
yes,
Like every one of them was like a goosebumps moment type speech for
I
me.
agree. The writers were great.
Yeah.
The score, I also really like the music in this series.
Yeah.
I I actually I don't know if there's a video out there that combines all of the episode like intro themes into one
Mhm.
song, and it's like this perfect like slow burn like rising song that's like really kind of just like mirrors the rebellion in this show. It's
Man.
it's really good, but no,
But
I
yeah,
mean,
those speeches, like I told people like after Andor finished, I was like, that so obviously over on the main channel, like Rings of Power has been
yeah,
the show to talk about over there. And like none of the rousing type speech moments in that show can hold a candle to these rousing speeches in
that's
Andor.
crazy to me.
Like
It's
it
such
is
a wild
crazy.
sentence that you
It
say
is
that because it's
crazy.
like you think you Tolkien versus like a Star Wars writing. It's just it's crazy.
It's crazy, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
but no, like they absolutely crushed it with those.
yeah.
And like the performances, Andy Serkis, like I
Was
love seeing as someone who has appreciated Andy Serkis for over 20 years now,
yeah.
like seeing people finally come around to like, wow, this Andy Serkis guy sure is amazing. Like
He's been amazing.
it's like, yeah, guys, he's been amazing for a
But
long time, but he's been like a CG character all this time, and you guys just haven't been able to
yeah,
recognize the fact that it's just plain good
and I will
acting.
tell you, man, I love him in Planet of the Apes or the new
Yeah,
Apes
yeah,
trilogy. I actually really love that's like super underrated trilogy.
it really is. Yeah,
But like he's so good in the show. Like especially when Cassian Diego Luna is like, "Is that the best you can do?" Um, and he just sort of clicks into that mode. Like it's just some great
yeah.
work, some great acting work, and yeah, kudos to him. I think we'll see him. I don't know if we'll see him
I was
again.
gonna say, yeah. What's up with his character?
I mean,
Like, do you
it
think
could just be as simple as like, yeah, he didn't make it, and that's it, and that's kind of how.
I
The,
can't imagine that though. Like
but in a
he's
way,
so
yeah,
good.
I agree. Like I think he will be
I
back,
mean, surely he
even,
got captured, right?
and we're doing a time jump, so who knows, but it's it's gonna be interesting because it's kind of it makes a lot of sense if they don't show him again because that's just how this war is. It's just yeah,
Mm,
people they just you're gone.
just disappear. Yeah.
So I could see it going either way, but yeah, I mean, I think uh, maybe he gave too good of a performance to be done. We'll see.
I think so, yeah.
Since yeah,
I kind of forgot that he was in Age of Ultron.
yeah,
Ulysses Claw.
yes, was so
I
yeah,
was
he was
really
in
bummed he got killed off so fast in Black Panther.
yeah, yeah, but gosh, yeah, I forget he was in Age of Ultron. That's funny.
Mighty Mim said we skipped all his questions.
What were
Where's
your
his questions? Yeah, what
I
were your
didn't see him pop up.
questions?
I didn't see him pop
I
up.
see comments. I didn't see any questions.
I'm not intentionally skipping your questions.
He said Riva has more stomachs than a Sarlacc.
That's true.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, look,
Does that count? Does that count as
yeah, is
up
that a
one of your
question?
questions?
we showed it off.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I mean, Andor, slow start, but not that that's a bad thing. But it really, it's getting nominations for best drama show of the year.
Yeah,
it's like, sheesh.
I can deal with slow starts if you bring the goods like Andor did. Like if it builds the way it did, because I'd say by the time of the heist episode,
So good. Oh my gosh.
From that point on, I was like locked in where I was watching it the morning it came out because I was pumped to watch
the heist episode. That was the Eye, right?
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, that was incredible. The super tense. Yeah, I mean, that point on too, it was really in that the finale battle too, with the finale street riot. I think it was better.
Yeah.
I mean they're two very different shows, like very different. But yes, like objectively, very much so.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say if Keaton's gonna hedge his comments here, I will answer bluntly. Yes, absolutely.
I think it was
no question in my mind. Andor was the better show.
I think it's so hard for me. I love.
Stop being so diplomatic, Keaton. Jeez.
I know. I wonder why. It's like
I know. I think. Yeah, I maybe expectations has some part to play, but I just think like Andor is so freaking good. Like,
yeah. Well, the writing,
yeah, like
the dialogue,
yeah, the writing, the writing is
the cinematography,
good,
everything.
Yeah, I love that they got out of their green screen box for this show.
Well,
that's a nice touch.
That's interesting because I mean, I think most of their sets were built for Andor.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of Obi-Wan was on the the volume technology, which I think
which is cool. I mean,
cool.
I can't always tell.
Yeah,
you can't always tell the difference.
To me, it's always looked really good. It's always looked like very good in the Mandalorian, but then everything else has always been iffy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I see what you mean about the magic. Like, it wasn't that kind of Star Wars story.
And it was kind of very grounded. Yeah.
It's a contingent. It's a weird thing with the whole conversation around this show because it is definitely Star Wars, but it does not, you're not going to have like the sweeping John Williams score when the ship flies off the ground, like escaping in the nick of time, or, the hero's journey. You're not getting that.
Right.
I know what you mean, but it's good.
This feels like it feels like it's like the normies, in the Star Wars universe, like the normal people, the non-Jedi and everything. Like the Jedi get kind of the magic and the Force and the mystique and everything, and then we've got Andor, which is a show that's this is about the normal on the ground people, like all the people in the extras in the original trilogy. Think of those guys. This is their story.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I mean, some of the extras in Rogue One are in this show.
Right. Yeah. The guy he escapes with.
Michi? What's his name? It starts with an M, I think. Michi. I'm fake fan alert. Oh no!
You're making me think of the Rancor from Bad Batch season 1.
Moochie.
Yeah.
maybe that's what I'm doing. I'm started on Bad Batch. I'm like, Moochie escapes with Cassian.
That's the
one of my favorite.
We need.
One of my favorite initial theories was that Moochie was being given to Boba Fett, but I think that was debunked.
That was, because my kids asked
Like
that very
Moochie.
question. We rewatched season 1 of Bad Batch, and they were like, "Wait, is Moochie the Rancor that
Yeah.
gets killed at the end of, or I guess he gets put to sleep, doesn't he?"
In
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi?
No, in
Oh, Boba
yeah,
Fett, yeah.
yeah,
Boba
yeah,
Fett, he's just sedated. Yeah.
right, yeah. No, but they asked if he was the Rancor that Luke kills in
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi, and I was
Yeah,
like,
maybe. No way
but
to really
no, it's not.
know.
It's not. I looked it up, and I was like, good news, guys, it's not. I don't know where Moochie is. Maybe he's still out there somewhere.
It's fine. It
Maybe
reminds
the
me
real Moochie was the friends we met along the
we
way. I
met
don't know.
real Moochie's in all of us. It reminds me, it's an off topic, but whenever I would watch the Peter Jackson trilogy as a
Melshi.
kid. See, what's up with these names? Why are they all M-Shi?
Mshi.
Reminds me of the Peter Jackson trilogy because whenever the Nazgul would try to cross the ford of Brunion, I was like, "Dad, are the horses okay?" And he was like, "Yeah, they're fine." It's like, clearly they're
It's
not.
like, sorry, they all died.
um,
And the
yeah,
Nazgul walked back to Mordor.
yep. um, I'm
Did I
back.
freeze up, or
No,
did
it's
you
me.
freeze up?
It's a
Oh,
classic.
okay.
It's a classic me move. Yeah, but Andor. So Andor was great. 10 out of 10 personally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I
Initially
don't
very
like. I
hesitant.
definitely wouldn't want every show to. I still want shows to, like. I want stories around the Jedi and Mandalorians and like these big Star Wars-y
Yeah.
things, and I don't want every story to be just like the regular guys doing stuff and espionage tales, but you know getting one every once in a while, especially if it's as good as Andor, like bring it on, man.
Yeah, and I think because when you're getting Ahsoka, Mandalorian, like those will
Yeah,
have
so like,
very Star
yeah.
Wars, feel and themes to them. I think shows like Acolyte too, which I've gotten a little bit more excited for as stuff has started coming out.
I
That's a
forgot that
very
on my
interesting because
list.
that's
Yeah.
an infiltration. That's like a Sith infiltration
Right.
story, and that's I hope it's not a case where like the Sith become like they become repentant at the end.
Mm.
I hope it's
Oh
like
yeah, that's
I hope
lame.
it's like we stuck it to the Jedi, and I don't know. A lot of people think it's going to be a Plagueis
Oh,
intro, which would be really cool because we don't have a canon.
so that's 2023 as well. I forgot to add that to my list.
Yeah, yep, 2023.
Shoot. Well, we better circle back to 2023. So
I know.
we covered 2022. So
Yeah,
let's start with Acolyte because that's the one I'm least familiar with.
sure. That's High
So
Republic.
okay, so that is High Republic.
The
So
end of the High Republic.
give
Yeah.
me so you said it is Sith infiltrating the Jedi.
That's what I understand. That's only recent news. That's not like super that's not like we haven't known that the whole time. But yeah, it's from what I understand, it's like the Jedi are investigating like a string of murders. And there's somehow like a Sith infiltration who like they're gonna be posing as Jedi, like playing the long game or something.
Hmm.
It sounds really interesting. You've got some like um some it looks like some promising actors in it. I'm not familiar with all their work, but you've got like the lead actor from Squid Game in there, which show I enjoyed.
Oh,
Um,
I haven't watched that yet.
yeah, I mean there was some cool set photos that kind of leaked a couple weeks ago.
100 years
Yeah,
before. Oh, I did see that. Yeah, because we saw the
yeah,
Wookiee on there. 100 years before Phantom Menace is what we got.
yes. So that does fit the
That
bill
could
for
be
the Plagueis.
Plagueis.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So and
dude.
it's interesting because you might have Yoda pop up in there too because Yoda's
Right.
very much he's
500
been
years old you be.
yes.
Looks so good you will not. Yeah.
So Yoda could be around. Very interesting. But yeah, that's about all for Acolyte. Now I think it is going to be a darker show though.
I mean, bring on the Sith, man. Heck yeah.
Yeah, I know, some Sith erasure. I don't know. We haven't seen like a lot of
I
Sith
hope you're
action.
right though. Like like this is a pet peeve of mine, has become a pet peeve of mine, this fad of like
The repentance.
the repentant villains. Like nobody can just be a straight up bad guy anymore. Like just give me someone freaking evil, you know?
Yeah, I know you're
Like
talking.
Sauron.
I was like, who could
Sauron.
you be talking about
Who could I
recently?
possibly be talking about? I'm talking about Sauron. Give
Yeah,
me
I
the
won't
Dark
comment on that
Lord
one right now.
Sauron.
Based off legal counsel, I won't be saying anything about Sauron right now. It's right there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I hope not.
Acolyte is probably coming. Matthew 6288 asks when it'll be on. I think it's fall.
I was say it sounds like a third quarter project.
Yeah.
Now, also Skeleton Crew. That's a big one.
I forgot about freaking Skeleton Crew. Jude Law, right?
I just remembered.
Yeah.
But well, they showed some they teased it a little bit. I think maybe it was D23 or something recently. That now see to that one,
And that's 2023 as well. There's a
is it?
lot
I didn't
coming in
know.
2023.
So
That's
Skeleton
what.
Crew is interesting, guys, because I think it's gonna have like Stranger Things vibes in the sense that it
Ooh,
is like it's a
that's
younger
interesting.
cast for the most part, but I think they stow away, I think, no? So no one knows. A lot of people were like Jude Law is gonna be Laura Santeca. I don't know.
Oh, the guy.
The Church of the Force guy from
Yep.
Force Awakens.
Max. Oh gosh, what's his name? Max Vaughn something.
Rest in peace.
From Force Awakens.
Yeah. I'm out of focus, but oh, there we go. Okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, Skeleton Crew seems cool. The concept art for it looked really cool. Shed looked cool. Colors looked cool. It all looks cool to me. Star Wars.
And it takes place in 9 ABY.
Yes, so you can see that we are still, if we're calling it the Mandoverse, very much still going
in that Mando area.
Yep.
Oh man. Okay, so I'm gonna disagree with something here. Tales of the Jedi was garbage. Hated every episode. Glad it wasn't mentioned. Well, I'm gonna mention it because I actually liked it.
We forgot it. Yeah,
we forgot it.
Dogpiled.
I liked Tales of the Jedi.
I wonder. I have to ask if you're saying that because of the novel issues with Lucasfilm Publishing.
Oh, for like the Ahsoka.
I could understand like the frustration there, but man, I don't know that the Yaddle Dooku episode was
that was pretty
like
intense,
fantastic. like I mean, yeah. I mean, if you didn't like it, you didn't like it, but I thought it was some. I also love the Kiner Bros, and they brought some fantastic music to that series as a whole. Yeah, I'd be curious to know why you didn't like it, but I actually I liked Tales quite a bit. I wanted more, but it was a fun little project.
I thought, like I think,
no,
like I would enjoy, like the way we saw these glimpses into Ahsoka. I would like to see that from a Darth Maul perspective.
Yeah, like a Sith.
If they did a Tales of the Sith, like a sister series to it, and
cool.
we saw the whole thing in reverse with Ahsoka, but instead of Ahsoka, we see Maul, being tutored by Palpatine.
Yeah, like his young training days.
Man,
a deep one.
Yeah, that was bad. That sounded like I got emphysema or something.
I mean, who would it be though? Darth Maul and who else? I think actually a young Sidious would be really cool. Like with Plagueis.
Yeah, you could like mirror the two.
Yeah, I don't know though. That is a good point. I mean, who knows? Or maybe
or like a Sith who turns good. Instead of well, in small doses, it could be.
I'm like, I hate it.
I know, right? Well, I was saying to mirror the Dooku thing.
Yeah,
The way
yeah,
you know, it was the tale of how Dooku turned bad kind of
yeah.
thing. You know, you do the opposite. But yeah, I don't know. I don't like I
That
said,
yeah, I liked Tales. I
repentant
thought
villains
the
is not my
yeah,
jam.
the animation was really beautiful
Oh
too.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah, I liked it. I'm sorry sorry that you didn't like it though.
yeah. I mean, if you yeah, and
You know.
you know, I think I can speak for both of us. Like Keaton and I are very chill on like if you disagree with us, that's cool, man. Like I'd be yeah, I'm not like we're not the type of people who get mad when people disagree with us and
Yeah, I mean, I might
you
like
know.
I might at
Yeah,
least
like
say
I mean,
something under my
I'll
breath a little bit.
disagree. Yeah, I might I'll disagree with you. Like,
Yeah.
but it's all cool, man.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah, I'd be
luckily
curious, you know, Stabworthy, you know, tell us what you didn't like about it. Like go into some specifics and stuff.
the
Yeah.
thing that
Like
is really cool about Star Wars is like we're in very much you get such a variety of projects that yeah, I mean, I'm
yeah,
sure there are some things that you gravitate toward more than other
right.
things.
That is one
Yeah,
thing that I like. It's kind of a catch 22. So like the way I look at what might be on the horizon with Tolkien going, you know, bringing in Middle Earth for a minute here, because some of the fears over in that fandom are that it will become like Star Wars where there's so many projects, or
sure.
Marvel gets thrown out a lot too, where I think Star Wars is a more accurate comparison than Marvel. Um, but it's a catch 22 because on one hand, like in order to get amazing projects, there have to be projects being made.
Yeah.
And, you
Yeah.
know, and
We
the
talked you and
fact
I
of the
talked
matter
about this
is,
on a live
yeah,
not too long ago.
yeah, the fact of the matter is like if projects aren't being made, like you're not going to get amazing projects.
Yeah.
And, you know, it becomes a question of like, are you willing to put up with the not so great projects in the hopes of getting good projects? And yeah, it's you know, opinions are going to differ on that, and you know, I struggle with it too. You know, there's times
Yeah.
where I'm like, maybe it'd just be better if we just didn't do any of this, you know. But
Well, it's interesting,
um,
right? Because it's like, is there like is the do the numbers match, right? So is there such an inpour of people who are fans of the work who want to make the work versus the output that you as a studio want to put out in terms of how many projects there are? Like, do you have enough people who are actually fans of the universe and who are good at what they do to
mhm,
match the number of projects that you have on a slate?
yeah,
And I think that's been I don't know. I mean, a lot of cancellations recently, or a lot
yeah,
of projects kind of sputtering
definitely on
out.
the film side.
Yeah, so you know, you just it's something that you wonder. That's all. Like, I mean, you know, a lot of times like you've got scheduling issues and whatever, but oh, okay, yeah. So I was going to mention that that's a very fair criticism because the original
Yeah,
Tales of the Jedi in its original form, like before Disney stuff, was very much kind of what he's describing. It's just a misleading title, I think,
mm.
for the streaming
For
series.
people who are familiar with the old,
Yeah, it's a bit of a
yeah,
misleading because it's just you could call it like something else. You could call it like a Clone Wars story or something because that's basically what it
mm,
is. So I would agree, Stab, worthy with that. I think I've seen that point echoed. So yeah, I'm fine if that is your. Yeah,
yeah.
like I agree. I could see that.
So I think before he signed off, and like he might even mention that we didn't ask any of his questions. I think one of his questions actually was kind of leads us nicely into Jedi Survivor,
Great. Yeah,
which he
that's like
asked
our
if we
thumbnail.
thought, yeah, if we thought Cal was going to come up in any live action, which would be really interesting. Like I almost wonder if, you know,
It
because
would be.
presumably, like I can't help but think like the way Jedi Survivor looks, like the trailer and everything, all indications kind of point to it being just as good, if not better, than Fallen Order, most
Oh, it
likely.
looks incredible. It looks
And
incredible.
if that's the case, then like they will probably make a third one. And
Yeah.
you know, so part of me thinks, okay, on one hand, like, yeah, that would be awesome to bring Cal into into live action, I mean, the actor who plays him obviously looks just like the character, so
Yeah, Cameron
that's
Monaghan,
super easy.
super good. Yeah.
And but I could also see them like keeping him for the video games, to be able to keep telling those stories with him. So I
Right.
don't know. What do you think?
Well, I mean, Jedi Survivor, as you've seen, one of the pre-order bonuses is the Kenobi robes because they're taking place kind of the same, like around the same time,
Getting
right? Because
closer, yeah.
you saw the Fortress Inquisitorius, obviously, in Kenobi and in Fallen Order. I think that would be a cool overlap. Uh, Somehow like a Kenobi, like maybe we go to Tatooine and Survivor for some reason. Obi-Wan's.
Everybody just visits Obi-Wan.
I know that's another point, but it's um.
So it's
I could see
nine BBY.
um.
So we are 9
So
years
Kenobi takes
before
place.
A
So
New
Kenobi
Hope.
takes place 10 BBY, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's about the same. It's about the time. Um, I would like him to appear maybe in Ahsoka. That could be his fit, but Lord, how did he survive that long? And again,
Yeah.
where would he have been?
Where
So
was he during the
that's my
original
gripe.
trilogy? Yeah.
Here's the thing. I mean, characters can die. Like that's what makes them good. They have, you're like, what? Look what they accomplished in their
Right.
time.
Yeah.
Like they can die. But who knows? Like maybe he ends up. Maybe something happens with Cal in the third game where he has like a Ezra situation where he's just like locked away in unknown regions somewhere,
Yeah.
and who knows? I mean, we don't know what the story is going to be. Yeah, I would agree. I have liked how. Yeah.
So Monahan did allude to, kind of hinted that we could meet some um, well-known characters
I could
in
see Obi-Wan
Jedi
for sure.
Survivor. So he was very like, obviously he's not going to reveal who, but I immediately thought, excuse me, of Obi-Wan.
I mean, who else like makes sense like at this time
Yeah.
period? Like, I mean, like unless you're like if you're getting involved with the rebellion-ish stuff,
Yeah.
but I mean, even that's not really like that's not stirring as much yet. 10
You come
years, like your
across
whole
you come across Han, who's on a smuggling mission,
like a kid, like a him and Kira or
younger.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. Or Hondo.
Uh,
Why
yeah.
not bring in Hondo, man?
I mean, yeah, you easily could. Like he actually can appear anywhere. That's another
Yeah.
person who I think could be at Mando season 3, Hondo.
Dude, I don't know why. I just really like Hondo.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, he's
but
he's like the Jack Sparrow of Star
and
Wars, right? Like,
his voice and everything, he kind of looks a little bit like
I
a
think he's definitely
alien Jack
inspired.
Sparrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean yeah, that's a character I'm fine with appearing. He's fun and pretty harmless. Like it's all good. Yeah, I think Survivor though is a game.
And
Looks great.
yeah, a guy that I had over on Nerd of the Rings, Robert Strange played Hondo in the ride,
Like
like
the
in
Millennium
the
Falcon screen, like right before you board. Yeah,
the Smuggler's Run.
it's great.
Yeah, so Robert Strange, who is one of the orcs in Rings of Power, plays Hondo. When you see, it's not his voice, but he plays like when you see him in the flesh on the screen. That's him.
Yeah.
So yeah, like Hondo, I don't know. He's one of those characters. He just always pops up no matter what the era,
Yep.
and it's like, why not?
He's another one that's like super old. Like
Right? Yeah.
super old.
Him and Cad Bane. It's just
Yeah.
like, how old are you guys?
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I think Survivor, I think games like God of War and Elden Ring have proved like that single player games are just as strong as they once, as they ever were.
Oh yeah.
So I'm very optimistic. I think Fallen Order was really good. It had that nice blend of being like Souls and forgive me the game. I know you play it. I'm forgetting the samurai game.
Oh, Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, kind of that vibe to it.
Yeah.
Not as hard as those
Right.
games, I think, but I think like if it can follow the formula that it already had, it's clearly expanding on it with like abilities and enemy
Hmm.
types and stuff. So I'm not really worried about it. I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
really great. I actually need to pre-order it. um,
Yeah.
I'm
I
looking forward
already
to it.
did. I got
There's
my
there's
copy pre-ordered.
That's actually, we've I think there's a lot of speculation that the guy in the back to tank is a High Republic Jedi. So I think we're gonna have to embrace the High Republic
Yeah.
stuff sooner rather than later.
I
So
yeah, I guess I'm going to have to at least read the Cliff Notes version at the very
Star Wars in
least.
2023 is just Matt and I reading the High Republic.
Oh my gosh.
That's what you have to look forward to.
I hope I like it
Yeah,
because
I
it's
mean,
gonna
and
be a
again, like
long year if I don't.
there's a lot of material for the High Republic out. I'm sure there are some things that people like better than others. Like actually, I think I heard the most recent book isn't super like generally well received.
Mm.
So you know, there might be things, but
I'll just go play
no.
Fallen Order again instead. How about that?
Yeah,
I actually have been playing some Fallen Order here recently. Like
yeah,
my 10-year-old and I have kind of dove back in, and we
nice,
take turns playing on our profiles and everything. But yeah, it's such a
nice.
good game.
What are you thinking about the title Survivor? I mean, do you think that refers to the back to 10 guy? Do you think it refers
I'm
to the
that's
crew that's missing or just Cal or everyone? It's all of the above.
So I noticed this playing Fallen Order. Like I think the term Jedi, I think someone even says the term like a Jedi survivor
Oh, really?
in the first one, like referring to Cal maybe.
Uh-huh.
Um like it's just a line of dialogue, obviously. It's not like this big reveal, it's obviously just a natural part of the sentence that they're talking about, that they're saying, but yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling it could refer to um the guy in the back of the tank. I could also see where, if they don't know Cal's identity, that they refer to him as the Jedi survivor.
Oh, yeah.
The
I know a
one
lot of
that
people were like,
the one
"Where's
that
the
got
man?"
away. Like
Yeah,
he escaped. Vader was right there. He escaped, so he's the
true,
Jedi survivor.
true. And then we don't know where the crew is either. They're missing. Besides,
What's that?
what's her name? Gosh,
Siri.
forgetting. Yeah, she's in the most recent trailer now.
Yeah, and she has like a little mini Jedi archive set up.
Yeah, she's got scars and stuff,
She's
but
got like her head shaved
where's everyone
and
else? Like
yeah.
Marin, Grizz. Is that his name? Same time,
Grizz.
Grizz.
Yeah, Grizz.
Is
I
it
was trying to
Grizz?
think of his
Okay.
name.
Um,
I want to know where the little shoot, the little like cat fox creature thing is that I let stow away on the
oh, the
ship.
stowaway thing. Yeah, probably not
Yeah.
alive.
Oh
He's the
man.
Jedi survivor.
He
He's the Thank
Oh
you.
man.
Yes, we thought
Yeah,
it
thanks, Epic Kingdom. Yeah, we cycled through all the movies basically and just adding nerd to the title. And we
Yeah,
thought Nerd Strike Back had an active, very I don't know.
we're
It had
striking back at what negativity? I don't know.
I don't know. Striking
Um,
back is something.
something, whatever's in the way.
We're
Um,
it
yeah,
just
but
felt you know,
I will say one thing that
a
looks really
Nerd
cool about
Hope or Return of the Nerd, those things.
Return of the Nerd.
But
Return of
yeah,
the Nerd.
Nerd Strike Back, it just feels kind of epic,
I've had
But
this one. It's from the trailer of Cal running like with the two sabers where he's
yeah,
doing it.
where he's like flinging them both
That
in
looks
front
pretty
and
cool.
behind. Yeah.
I need more BD1 lore. Yeah, there was a BD unit in the Mandalorian.
There
Uh,
was. I was so pumped when I
I don't
saw
know if
that.
that's BD1. I would doubt it, but I
No,
would
I don't
say
think it
that
is. No.
that is, I believe, Fallen Order is the first time that unit has been around or been introduced. So maybe we'll get one. I don't really know what their function is as a droid yet. The Nerdalorians.
Yeah, that's
I
pretty
think
good.
that was on the table at one point.
It was. Yeah, it definitely was.
Striking. Well, oh, please.
That's a topic for another day, my friend. Keaton and I have had some interesting
I
discussions.
do have a poster for it, but
He does.
but
I was
because
giving him a hard time about that poster earlier.
but I will say, my thought I got the poster before the movie came out. Not that says anything about my opinion of the movie, but I will tell you that it's a cool poster. Okay, look at it.
It's a cool poster. I'll give you that. Might be the only credit I give you about it, but snap.
Sauce.
Anyway, so Ahsoka.
Yes, we got tackle Ahsoka.
That's the last one. That's the last one that we haven't talked about. We kind of glossed over a couple of the ones that are farther out, like in the fall.
That's okay though.
We can always talk about those on a future stream when we get more details.
This is my most anticipated 2023 thing that I'm gonna watch for Star Wars.
Ooh, okay.
I think. I mean,
even more than Mando, huh?
Well, listen, I think Ahsoka is gonna have, like Favreau said, like you and I talked about offline, was that samurai feel to it. I think it's gonna feel. I mean, Star Wars is originally inspired by, of course, samurai films.
Yeah, Kurosawa. Yeah.
I think you've got some like cool world between world stuff that could happen. I think we're all, but I mean, so many unofficial reports, but the Hayden Christensen.
It feels like a Clone Wars sequel in live action.
That's great.
Like the more I hear about
I love it.
like, which I think people would flip their minds over.
I would
lose their minds over. Sorry, flip their minds.
I would. I mean, here's the thing: is like you've had Ewan back, you've had Hayden back. You could film. I think today there was a lot of talk of the Clone Wars live action Ahsoka casting, like for a younger actress.
They cast a younger actress.
I think it's pardon me, I don't remember her name, but it was in House of the Dragon, which I enjoyed. So
yes, it is the actress from, and they did release the first still. It's just a shot of Ahsoka like removing her hood.
Yeah, and there was a still of her too that I think you and I were looking at a few weeks ago from something where she was in it looked like the Lothal temple.
Oh, I don't remember that actually.
I think it was a picture with her, like the lines are all on the wall, and
yes, it was a bit kind of like a behind the scenes.
It's a blurry. It's like maybe we shouldn't have been looking at it, but we were looking at it. Yeah. So
it had a Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of vibe to it.
And I think oh, never mind. Getting my wires crossed. I was about to say Jon Favreau is writing on every episode, but that's Mandalorian.
Yeah, that's Mando. Which I saw some people were like freaking out about him writing on every episode.
I think it's because he wrote
his
Boba
show.
Fett.
I mean, like, why wouldn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. It's silly.
Yeah. Like, why wouldn't he? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Ahsoka has the potential to get kind of wacky, like in a good way, kind of weird, kind of celestial, if you will. Not that Star Wars.
Well, I mean, we know she's going after Thrawn,
right? And Ezra, and they've got
Ezra. Like,
it's
so it makes me wonder. Like, so do you think, like, there's rumors or signs that Thrawn has returned, which is why Ahsoka is so keen to go after Thrawn to find out what happened to Ezra, like in hopes that finding Thrawn will lead her to Ezra.
Yeah, that seems to be what is implied. The only question is like how does she go about going? Like, I mean, because I mean, I don't know if he's in unknown regions or not, but I wonder if the world between worlds, if that is brought into the picture, if that's some way to, like, if that's some way to maybe pinpoint where they, like, if it's some sort of like unnatural means of pinpointing where they are, like if it allows some sort of window. Because like they're able to see Palpatine in real time, and he's not. He's just because he's accessing another entrance. I don't know. It could get. I think it's like I said for those reasons. I think it's going to get really weird. Yes, he did survive the
Yeah,
rebels.
I think. Yeah, I think he definitely did, and I think Ezra did. I mean, he's been cast as well.
Yes.
So we know he's gonna pop up.
I wonder though if Ezra doesn't end up being a villain.
What?
I don't
Really?
know. I'm gonna throw it out there right now. I just said like maybe he gets. Who knows what he's seen. I don't know.
That's it. So that's adding a new twist to it. You take a hero, make him a villain, and then well, it's not new, but then you get it's like bonus repentant villain then.
Or yeah, he doesn't. I mean, who knows? Like I don't know. I mean, we just don't know what's because this is really starting to get into territory. It's like, well, where do people like Snoke come from? It's like, are they all? Is that all where the weird stuff is? Like the unknown regions?
Well,
There's just
Snoke isn't Snoke like a clone or something?
well,
Is that
he appears.
the
There's a Kylo Ren comic line where he like even has hair at one point. Like, so I don't know what's not getting the Snoke. It's just a whole. It's just like a
I
whole
was gonna
thing.
say we said we were avoiding last
I know.
Jedi,
It's
and I
like
think
we
I think
did.
we're getting dangerously close
I know. He
because
keeps tiptoeing on
we're
it because
only
we're getting close to
gonna
that era.
stream. We're only gonna stream for like 9 more minutes
I know
here,
we're
and
getting close to that
the
era.
last thing in the world we need to bring up with 9 minutes left is the Last Jedi. So
Yeah.
it's gonna take a lot longer to get
That
into
being
that.
said,
So
I think Ahsoka just stands to cover like obviously like very. It's gonna be like a very I think force heavy show. Like maybe we get into even the Wills again. That would be cool. Um, obviously like Ezra and Thrawn are kind of like where we're leading, but obviously that conflict can't get resolved if Thrawn's going to be the big bad of the TV verse.
yeah.
So something the show has to set the stage for something. It can't be the conclusion. So that's why I think. I mean, who knows what could happen? I don't know.
I love you guys. You just keep egging you guys. I just said we're not going into this with 9 minutes left.
I think some of them are.
But the answer is no.
I mean,
okay. Anyway,
yeah.
we're moving on to other things.
I was like, you're gonna cut. You should just cut me off. Yeah, that should be I think one-off movies are great. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, Ahsoka, great. That I don't actually remember the. Do you remember the exact date it comes out?
I don't.
That one has to come out after Mando.
Yeah. I don't know if it's been announced.
I don't think so either.
It just says 2023.
So summer.
We also got Sabine cast.
Yes, it is not the voice actor, but it is.
Right.
It is. Yeah, I mean, I remember that because I was at the
Natasha Bordizzo.
They revealed that actor or actress, whatever you want to call it,
Actress, yeah.
at Celebration. I remember because
Okay.
I was I had the luck of getting in the Mandalorian panel, and they also did Ahsoka stuff at it, so it was cool.
Angel says IMDb says March 12th. That seems really soon.
Well, because Bad Batch will still be airing, and Mando will have just started airing.
Yeah, there's no way they're overlapping Mando.
I would say. I really think I could see late summer, honestly.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, there's no way.
I could see late summer for Ahsoka, and then like late fall, winter for Acolyte.
But we have 7 minutes left. We should just who Snoke is supposed to be.
Snoke
he says Grand Moff Tarkin.
Do you remember in the Phantom Menace when Sebulba like would cause those aliens to wreck in the pod race? He's one of those.
Mm-hmm.
It's Snoke.
Oh, okay.
That's Snoke.
He's one of the aliens?
He's just one of the people who crashed in the pod racer. That's why he's scarred.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. So he's like a retired he's like a retired pod racer who moonlights as a Sith.
Yeah,
so
he's I was about to say he's
Checks
Max
out.
Rebo, but Max Rebo is alive. So
Max Rebo. Speaking of which, guys, we're gonna have a Max Rebo video.
I know it's
Be
not,
ready
it's
for
not high
that.
on the priority list, but Max Rebo will get done.
Yeah, he's not the most requested, but by golly, we're gonna get him.
Yeah, which also could appear in Mando season 3 or Ahsoka. You know what? So
Max
yeah,
Rebo.
I feel like Max Rebo could be in those shows.
He's just gonna pop up in places before they explode. Is the
That's what I'm
thing.
saying. Like if Max Rebo's there, you gotta get out.
Can you imagine? Okay, so hear me out. So Max Rebo is actually a secret rebel agent and plants explosives at these places.
Oh my
And it's
gosh,
all going to
he's
be
blowing up
revealed.
cantinas.
It's
He's
all going to
blowing
be
up innocent.
revealed. Can you imagine like a like this Usual Suspects-esque reveal that Max Rebo's been behind like all these things throughout?
It's like the Scooby Doo reveal when they like rip off the mask and it's Max Rebo.
That's what they should have
Max
done with
Rebo.
Snoke.
Yeah,
Max Rebo.
that would be
I would
funny.
have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you, Jedi.
That's funny. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting because like shows like Ahsoka and Mando like don't need to bring any more like legacy characters into the fold really necessarily. Like I think it's like been a criticism like of Mando season 2 like and stuff like that. But at the same time, like for Survivor, people are like, yeah, I want to see like Obi-Wan. So it's kind of interesting to see depending on the medium that we're in.
Well, I mean, I feel like people are pretty pumped about the like Thrawn and Sabine and Ezra coming into Ahsoka though.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I mean that because they're a part of that line, I guess. But I guess
You're talking like original trilogy people.
well, anyway, I was about to say it'd be like Han's like the Millennium Falcon, like taking them to the unknown regions or something. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Weird. Yeah, I get
Who knows?
that.
But
yeah, so as much as I like to see Luke, because I honestly, excuse me, like part of my frustration. Gosh, okay, you talk. I'm gonna clear my throat.
with Luke, part of the frustration, I don't know. I think with Luke, it's interesting because I think the deepfake was cool for like a one-off moment. It was like, whoa, but obviously it was much better in Boba Fett than it was Mandalorian. But I think for longevity, I think for honestly like the integrity of the craft, I'll say it that way, and for again like just ease of production and cost and etc. Just even this like just cast someone else.
Yes, like
just
like, and I know a lot of people have thrown out
Sebastian
Stan, which I think he obviously looks fairly similar to a young Mark Hamill, so sure, he's working for he's on the payroll. Like you've got his number, I'm sure. But yeah, I just like as much as I love Mark Hamill, because like I said, Luke is the character, if we're picking favorite, characters or like ones that we feel most attached to, then since the age of 4, that has been Luke Skywalker for me. So like I absolutely love Mark Hamill, and his portrayal as Luke. But that being said, like I cannot get past the uncanny valley of these deepfake things.
Especially with the voice.
Yeah. Like the voice was like AI and stuff. And there's just part of me that's like, like, I don't know why. I feel like they learned the wrong lesson from the Han Solo thing, from Han Solo not doing as great.
Yeah.
They took that to be like, oh, well, we can't recast these legacy characters. When you look at Obi-Wan and it's like, well, what about Ewan McGregor?
Yeah, he's a huge recast.
Yeah, like that was a huge one and it worked out fantastic. Like and I think I can't remember his Aldrich something that played Alden. Yeah. Alden.
Aaron. His last name starts with E. Something Ike. Something Ike. Sorry,
gonna Alden Ehrenreich.
Ehrenreich. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'll
I
tell you
thought
this.
he did really
I'm
well.
gonna
Like
take this stream to
I was
tell you
fine
that
with it.
Solo is a good movie. Okay, so
I like Solo.
I'm gonna
I like Solo.
fight with the chat if I have to, I
Yeah.
guess. No, but
And if
well,
you don't
so
like it, that's cool and
yeah, if you don't
everything.
like it, yeah,
I thought it was a fun like little adventure movie, and I
yeah,
thought that that it was a good, the
I
casting
liked
was
it.
good. I thought, I
It
would
came out
rather
at a
see that than
very
a deep faked Harrison Ford, and Harrison Ford is
yes.
one of my favorite actors of all time. Um,
Well, it's funny you
but
mention that because you're gonna see a young Harrison Ford deepfaked in Indiana Jones.
well,
So
that's different. I never want to see anyone else's Indiana Jones.
okay. It's like they're the same character anyway. Like almost like um no, I mean I would agree. Indiana Jones I think is more iconic than Han Solo.
Yeah, like
Hot take,
yeah.
maybe. But I think Solo just came
That's a
out
bold
at the
thing to
wrong
say on a
time.
Star Wars channel,
Well, no, okay, well, he's not more kind than
but
Luke Skywalker.
I do agree. I do agree though.
I do agree with
But
that. Uh-huh.
like it's harder to imagine someone else pulling off Indiana Jones than someone pulling off Han Solo, especially since I think we saw Alden do a good job of it.
Yeah,
Like I think he did fine. Like I understand if it's not people's
same
favorite
thing with
and
Donald
everything,
Glover
but
as Lando. I love that casting
yeah,
too. Super good.
yeah, I thought that was good too. But yeah, I feel like because that movie underperformed, I feel like they might have learned the wrong lesson, and instead of looking at it like, hey, this is a movie that we're releasing in summer instead of December, like all
Yeah,
the other movies have come out. It's releasing right after The Last Jedi, which was very, divisive among the
yeah,
fan base. Like they didn't, yeah, it to me as like from an outside perspective, it looks like they're learning the wrong lessons from what
yeah,
what happened to that movie. And so yeah, so I think they're kind of scared to death, maybe. I don't know. This is
yeah.
theorizing.
I mean,
It's all theorizing. We have no freaking clue. We're
no.
just talking, but it makes me wonder like are they afraid to recast Luke Skywalker? And personally, I would rather see them recast some than to continue at this point. Like we've done a couple little scenes here, but like if you're gonna do anything more with the character beyond like a few talking scenes, then like it's time to recast him
Yeah,
and like get an actor in there so you can not have to rely on these digital means that don't fully capture a human performance.
I agree. I mean, especially
Yeah.
I'm glad we got we have scenes like Ahsoka and Luke talking. Like that's super cool. But I'd love to see it
Yeah,
with
it
like
is cool.
I'd love to see like Luke the I'd love to see the character actually like listening with a real human face.
Emoting? Yes.
Emoting.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Yes.
Emoting. Yeah. So yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there, but let's just
They did. Baby
yeah,
steps.
they did. Yep.
Almost
And
virtually it's almost literally baby steps because
yeah,
it's such a young Luke, but
that kid was good too.
you're right. I'm kind of surprised they didn't have Mark Hamill
Deep
crawling
fake
around
Mark
on his knees and saying like, "Hey Mark, okay, now your motivation is you're 6 years old."
Hamill.
And oh my gosh.
I think yeah. Here's the thing: I keep Mark Hamill as like a consultant on the character, and then just recast it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that, I mean, yeah. I mean,
I
I
would
don't know.
love like it would actually be I don't think they could do it for a while, but I would be open to um like if they ever did some kind of one-off adventure movie with a young Ben Solo and Jedi Master Luke.
Yeah,
I think that so okay, so I lied. I'm going to get a little bit into The Last Jedi because part of my dream was like because, I'm such a huge fan of Luke, like going into this like I want to see Luke at his peak. Like this, yes, this is like because I mean
yeah,
at the end of the Return of the Jedi is him becoming a Jedi. Like
yeah,
truly becoming a Jedi. It's like
yeah,
through legends or through your own like mind over the last 40 plus years or whatever,
yeah,
you think like gosh, imagine how awesome Luke would have grown to be. And then like what we got, is what we got. And so that's where my frustration with that movie came in, was like yeah, I'm too close to Luke to
It's
do that.
crazy because
So there's part of me that still has that desire to see a Jedi Master Luke doing awesome Jedi
yeah,
Master things.
I mean, it was in our Luke Part 2 video plug here. Um,
Mm-hmm. Should
there,
go watch it, folks. Yeah.
yeah, there's the whole. I mean, when him and Ben go, and when they first confront the Knights of Ren, and Luke is like single handedly, um, not he doesn't kill any of them, but
Mm-hmm.
he's making easy work of them with that green lightsaber and like an outfit that's and he's being Luke, and it's super
Yeah.
cool. And again, not saying that we need these cool epic moments, but he threw his lightsaber over a cliff. I'm done. Anyway, let me not say anything else.
Yeah.
Like
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
I yeah. I actually, it reminded me of when you talk about fighting the Knights of Ren. Like that's in one of the Lego. Like is it
Like one of
is
the
it the
Lego
holiday? Yeah,
stores.
it's like one of the like the summer vacation
Oh, really?
like Star Wars summer vacation one or something.
You're like, why am I watching Lego Summer Vacation to get my Luke fix?
Right, yes. Why am I getting my Luke fix, and like the more interesting story, from this era in Lego form than like movie form, but
That's funny. Yeah.
yeah.
I those are actually pretty good, by the way. So check them out.
Yeah, no, I love how like
The holiday ones are always cool. I didn't watch the Halloween one yet, but that one looked cool.
I don't know if I've watched the Halloween yet one either. I loved they had the one last year that was like Christmas. It was like
Yeah,
holidays. They
I
called it the
watched that
holiday
one.
special.
It
I
was good.
liked
They
it.
had like
Yeah.
it was
They had
basically
they had Mando and
Spider-Man Far From
Grogu.
Home,
They had
but
like they had
or
like
No Way Home.
a
Sorry.
Mando Grogu moment where they all pause and like admire how cute Grogu
Yeah,
is.
and but then you had like the all three like Obi-Wans together. Like it was
Yeah.
cool.
Hello there. Hello
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, yeah. So like Skywalker Saga came out this last year. That was another big thing.
You know what? Hot take. Didn't really enjoy it that much.
It was so I enjoyed it. Like I enjoyed the experience of playing it with my kids. I enjoyed
Yeah.
that it had like some shooter elements to it. I thought that was a cool addition. But I will say that Lego games in general, I think peaked at Lego Lord of the Rings.
Oh, of course.
So
I actually loved Lego Lord of the Rings.
totally,
That little
totally unbiased, but it's
no, that had a
open
great
world.
open world to it, and
It's
the music would
open
always
world.
play. It was
It's the
always
first
cool.
game that they used the movie dialogue for.
Tom Bombadil.
They do have Tom Bombadil in there. Yeah, I think.
He is in it. I think he's like an extra character that you can
Yeah, I
like
think it
find
is an
in the
extra
world.
character. Yeah, there's a couple like book characters that are in there.
Yeah, this
But
game just felt
like it but I feel like a lot of and maybe this is because I'm old and I'm getting older every day. But I feel like those Lego games are getting more complicated to the point where there's like almost too much going on control-wise, whereas
yes.
there's a beautiful simplicity if you go back to things like I think of, the Complete Saga, Lego Star Wars Complete Saga, um, Indiana Jones. Yeah, that was another. They
Lego
did a couple.
Batman.
Lego Batman. Yeah, they and then Lego Lord of the Rings. Even Lego The Hobbit was more complicated and like a little more cumbersome to play. So yeah, I feel like Lego Lord of the Rings, and I will say, and Lego Star Wars Complete Saga were like peak
Yeah.
Lego games.
A lot of people liked Lego Force Awakens as well. I heard that one was good.
Yeah.
But here's the thing about this Lego game was it was the first one with a different camera angle, I think.
Yeah.
But the
I
screen
think
is
they used a
super
different engine too.
which I liked the engine, but the like user interface and like was very busy.
Yeah.
And the movie, like it seems rushed. Like the movies go by so quick. Like they skip a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you're cramming 9 movies into a single game.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know.
The
Yeah.
rumor is that they're working on another game with some big IP. I don't know what it was. Oh, Lego Harry Potter is also a very good one.
Yes, I did enjoy.
Those are
But
really
I
good
think I only
too.
had.
Because they're
I think I had
split
1
into
through
2
4.
games.
I think I
Yeah.
had 1 through 4. Was 1 through 4 the first split?
Mm-hmm.
I had that
Yep.
one.
And
It
then
was
5 through 7. Yeah. Yeah, those are really good too. Those are ones we've gone back and played over and over.
but that original Lego Star Wars Dex's Diner classic.
Yeah.
Because it came out right before, like, the Revenge of the Sith levels are so silly because like it's so different than the movie because it hadn't come out yet.
Really?
It was like right before it came out, I think. So like for example, like Commander Cody doesn't look like Commander Cody. He's like yellow. And he gets killed by General Grievous in the Lego level. Like it's just like different. I mean, it's the same. Like the same thing happens, but I think it was right before the movie came out. Yeah,
that's very interesting.
But that was also like them releasing the Revenge of the Sith movie game before the movie came out.
Yeah,
And
I
so
feel like that happened. I feel like that might have happened with the Return of the King game too.
Oh, that is a great video game. But anyway,
it is
different conversation. Actually, the Revenge of the Sith video game
that's a different
quite
channel
good
altogether.
Too. Yeah, the Revenge of the Sith video game was a lot of fun because you could do.
Yeah, I just looked it up. So the Return of the King game came out November 3rd, 2003. So it came out like a month and a half before the movie.
That's crazy,
right?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Jeez.
Movie tie-in games. That's like a forgotten art.
It's a lost art.
Yeah.
It has some disastrous results, but once in a while,
you
get a Return of the King or a Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, they were a lot of fun. They were a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well,
we went over what I expected.
We went over. Great. I did not expect us to go over. we had a lot of stuff to talk about though.
Yeah.
And we could have gone on if we would have taken the bait on the Last Jedi conversation. We could have gone another 2 hours. But anyway, yeah. Well, this was fun. We'll have to do this again for sure.
I think we'll certainly be back in the new year. You know, as things develop, I'm sure we'll get some news out of the holidays.
Yeah, and then yeah. So folks in the chat and folks you know, watching this after the fact, let us know what kind of content you'd like to see here on the channel, you know, especially with the multitude of shows coming out. You know, we're kind of playing around trying to figure out what we want to do coverage wise and stuff. So let us know what you guys are interested in watching when it comes to Bad Batch or Mando or Ahsoka and all those kind of things. I'll love to have your feedback.
We do have some stuff like non-coverage related coming up in the new year, whether that be like a Jedi Survivor playthrough and maybe 1 or 2 other things. Stay tuned. There's a lot.
Maybe
in the ground running.
Maybe some things that involve a road trip and an in-person in some in-person content at a Star Wars-y location.
That would be involved, yes. And at least one of us I know will be at Star Wars Celebration, so we'll be reporting that as well live. So
I keep forgetting. So spoiler alert, that'll be Keaton.
Next year it'll be both of us.
Next year when they bring it back to the States, then
this channel is very late blooming. So
yes, I was gonna say, our channel hasn't gotten big enough yet that we can just spring for a European vacation to go to Celebration, but maybe next year we'll see. All right. I think is anything else before we sign off for 2022?
I would just say like happy holidays, everyone. Happy New Year. Stay safe. It's cold all over the United States, at least right now. So
sorry I coughed so much. I'm still getting over this junk, but hopefully in the new year we'll not have that on my live streams. So yeah. All right, guys. Well, have a happy holidays. Have a wonderful Christmas. Happy New Year. And we'll see you next year in 2023 for all these fun topics and more here on the Nerds Strike Back.